Chapter 2174. It's easier said than done. However, I will work hard. City Lord, please take the Myriad Tao tome for reference. Don't be in a hurry to give it to me. Knight Sorrow didn't take back the Myriad Tao tome. He really hoped that it would be of some help to Tran Hung. My training has already been finalized. The main mystery of the Myriad Tao tome is to lay a solid foundation, especially in the spirit refinement realm. It can strengthen the soul by 30%. This is too terrifying. However, the effect won't be that good if I practice it halfway. After I read it, I will compare it with my previous practice. Tran Hung pushed the Myriad Tao tome back to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow nodded and took back the Myriad Tao tome. I let the children practice it. I also found something wrong. The effect of strengthening the body is not bad. However, the strengthening of the soul is not as big as 30%. It seems that the Spirit Sea has been finalized by the Qi refinement realm, which limits the strengthening of the Myriad Tao tome. They should practice the Myriad Tao tome to pass the Spirit refinement realm first. Tran Hung nodded. He also confirmed this point. That's why he said that the Myriad Tao tome was the most suitable for laying the foundation. It was the practice before the Sage realm. Tran Hung didn't leave. He had already solved the problem of the foreign world. He couldn't find the problem that he couldn't solve. He also didn't have any solution. Knight Sorrow was very happy that Tran Hung didn't leave. This was because he could give him a lot of pointers. With the passage of time, Knight Sorrow's infinite annihilation / gradually took shape. Its might was much stronger than the death annihilation /. After all, this was a high-level fusion attribute. Very good. You have deduced it. What's the next step? Tran Hung was very happy when he saw Knight Sorrow's infinite annihilation / take shape. Practice the space annihilation / then the nothingness annihilation / and finally the combination. This secret art is not easy. Knight Sorrow put away the blood Kirin evil slaying spear and said. For newest, chapter W-PU, it is not easy. However, if you think about it from another perspective, this is also a process for you to familiarize yourself with the origin attribute. Tran Hung looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Yi Shang nodded. He felt that Chen Huang's way of thinking was correct. This was the embodiment of experience. He had two supreme attributes, but he didn't dare to say that he understood. There was no movement, so Yi Shang stayed in the desolate mountain. However, Chen Huang would sometimes leave for a period of time and then return. He was either investigating the situation of the devil-winged race or investigating whether there were any new outer world. Attributes conflicted with each other, so Knight Sorrow wasted a lot of time to cultivate and deduce his unique skills. In his 4th year at the Heavenly Desolate Mountain, he only managed to figure out the spacetime annihilation /. It was also at the end of this year that his sure cultivation reached 40%. Knight Sorrow arrived at the Yawu Mountain. He did not disturb King Yawu and went to transcend the tribulation. King Yawu knew when the lightning tribulation was about to descend. He had been watching Yi Shang from a distance. He understood that Yi Shang didn't want to disturb him. He was very pleased because Yi Shang's cultivation speed was very fast. The tribulation of 3 emperors and tribulation of 4 emperors was a watershed. The soul would transform. Even if the soul left the body, it would have a certain survival ability and combat power. King Yawu felt that Knight Sorrow would have no problem fighting a tribulation of 6 emperors. He might even be able to kill them. This was not an exaggeration. The difference between the tribulation of 3 emperors and tribulation of 4 emperors was not just one level. It was the difference between the tribulation of 5 emperors and tribulation of 6 emperors. Knight Sorrow's tribulation of 3 emperors could kill a tribulation of 5 emperors. It would not be a problem for him to advance to the tribulation of 4 emperors and kill a tribulation of 6 emperors. After leaving the Yawu Mountain, Knight Sorrow went to the Heavenly Desolate Cliff to take a look. The Heavenly Desolate Cliff was where the Heavenly Desolate Iron Guards were stationed. The Heavenly Desolate Iron Guards cultivated in-time acceleration. This was one of the reasons why they were strong. Like Night Sorrow, they cultivated in-time acceleration except for fighting. Therefore, their cultivation levels were not bad. When Night Sorrow arrived, the Heaven Wasteland Steel Guards were all cultivating. They were cultivating their array formations and combined attacks. Furthermore, they were very proficient. Long Jin was not here, but Tianyu was. Tianyu did not cultivate alchemy or blacksmithing. Instead, he specialized in array formation. He was already an Imperial Lord level array master, so he was better in this aspect. When they saw Night Sorrow, the Heavenly Desolate Iron Guards bowed. Not bad. You have cultivated well. When you go on the battlefield to kill enemies, you will show your true power. Night Sorrow nodded in satisfaction. It is mainly because Long Jin and Tianyu, the two Imperial Preceptors, are more attentive to our cultivation. Du Yueding cupped his hands at Tianyu. Imperial Preceptors were the same as Heavenly Masters. They were honorifics for cultivators who had achieved success in alchemy, blacksmithing, and array formation. Commander Du, you are too polite. It is because everyone has worked hard. This cannot be ignored. Tianyu hurriedly waved his hands. We are all brothers, so there is no need to be polite. Everyone has done well. If you need anything, just call me at the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Night Sorrow said. 13th brother, you have to treat me to a drink. I have been staying at the Heavenly Desolate Cliff for a while. Tianyu ran to Night Sorrow, who was about to leave. All right, Commander Du, I will leave it to you. Night Sorrow nodded at Du Yueding and left with Tianyu. After leaving the Heavenly Desolate Cliff, Night Sorrow asked Tianyu and Yin Yinxiao about their lives. 13th brother, don't worry. Apart from not having children, everything else is fine. As for children, our cultivation is high, so it will be difficult for us to have children. Not everyone is as lucky as you, 13th brother. It is the same for Long Jin and the dragon language. Tianyu said. After returning to his mansion, Night Sorrow chatted with his wives in the Heavenly Desolate City. After resting for 2 days, he returned to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge to stabilize his cultivation. On the Heavenly Desolate Mountain, Tran Hung looked at the meditating Night Sorrow with admiration. After Night Sorrow's main body had advanced, the cultivation of his clone had also advanced. Tran Hung had seen all of this. Tran Hung wasn't worried about whether Night Sorrow's cultivation could keep up at the end of this epoch. Night Sorrow had only cultivated for a little more than 1,000 years, and an epoch had 100 billion years. Even if his cultivation slowed down in the later stages, he wouldn't be stuck at Night Sorrow's level. Because there was no bottleneck in the Emperor Tribulation, it depended on the accumulation of time. Of course, depending on one's talent and comprehension, the cultivation speed would also be different. Watching Night Sorrow stabilizing his cultivation, Tran Hung sat down to meditate. Next was Night Sorrow's time to stabilize his cultivation. There was a gap between cultivation and realm, so he needed time to adapt. Night Sorrow used half a year to stabilize his cultivation. After stabilizing his realm, Night Sorrow raised his cultivation to the same level as his realm. After finishing his cultivation, Night Sorrow expressed his gratitude to Tran Hung. Tran Hung congratulated Night Sorrow. It's a bit strange. Did the Devil-Winged clan really abandon us and leave us here? Did they abandon the Heavenly Desolate Mountain? Night Sorrow stood up and looked towards the Devil Imperial City. Chapter 2175. That's true. 1 or 2 people can't form a real occupation, so they don't really care. Night Sorrow nodded. Tran Hung nodded. Mo Zhantian and Nimo Yutian, as the 3 greatest heavens of the Demon Wing clan, are people who take into account both strength and strategy. They understand some things very well. If they are not confident, they will not leave the demon imperial city. If they do not leave the demon imperial city, it is useless for us to take over their territory. Knight Sorrow knew that this situation involved a fundamental problem. As long as the demon imperial city was not broken, the foundation of the Demon Wing clan was still there. The Demon Wing clan has existed for too long. They know the way of survival. Even if Heaven Wasteland domain is really destroyed, they will not be afraid. If I'm not wrong, they have now found a way out. After occupying other domains, the Demon Wing clan can still survive. Tran Hung told Knight Sorrow his estimation. In fact, this was the situation of the Demon Wing clan now. Knight Sorrow shook his head helplessly. The Demon Wing clan is really a cancer. They are very stubborn. The main thing is that they have an unbreakable fortress. If there is no Demon Imperial City, how long can they withstand the attacks of the 100 Races Alliance of the Celestial Realm? It will not be long before they are annihilated in the long river of history. Tran Hung narrowed his eyes and looked in the direction of the Demon Imperial City. He felt a little regretful because, even though he had cultivated to the tribulation of the 9 emperors and the unity of the spirit, there were still some things that he could not solve. The Demon Imperial City, like the God-destroying tribulation, was a shadow in his heart that could not be removed. Tran Hung had been to the Demon Imperial City and could not break it at all. The conversation reached a dead end. Knight Sorrow and Tran Hung did not talk about this topic. Knight Sorrow, be careful. I want to go outside and take a look. You have solved an apocalyptic tribulation, but in the last era of the celestial realm, anything can happen. Who knows, that foreign world may suddenly appear and turn into a tribulation of the heavenly Tao to destroy the celestial realm. Seeing that Knight Sorrow was doing well, Tran Hung planned to leave. He still had many things to do. If there are any problems, let me know. My original body is still cultivating on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Knight Sorrow did not ask him to stay. He knew that this was a special time, and Tran Hung could not stay here forever. Alright, you have to pay attention to your safety too. You have to pay attention to the development of the 9-domain world. Don't let anyone with ulterior motives sneak in. Most importantly, don't let the Demon-Winged clan sneak in. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome. Chen Huang warned Yi Chang. After Tran Hung left, Knight Sorrow began to cultivate his absolute art, the space-time destruction slash. In the Demon Imperial City, Mo Yutian appeared. He had successfully entered the tribulation of the 9 emperors. After taking a look at the body of the demon ancestor, the two of them went to a pavilion. Heaven Battling Pavilion, Mo Zhantian's residence. Yutian, passing the tribulation of the 9 emperors is a joyous matter. Next, you have to focus on cultivation. There is still a big difference between the soul unification and the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Although you have to give up your doppelganger and the chance of reincarnation, you will have an extremely strong combat strength. Mo Zhantian said to Mo Yutian, who had just come out of seclusion. Okay, how is the situation now? Mo Yutian asked. He had stopped cultivating because he was worried about the situation. Mo Zhantian shook his head and told him about Knight Sorrow's appearance in the heavenly desolate mountain, as well as his worries and arrangements. Hearing Mo Zhantian's words, Mo Yutian's face was filled with murderous intent. He hated Knight Sorrow too much because Knight Sorrow's appearance had ruined many of his plans. The demon ancestor's heavenly desolate war halberd was snatched away by Knight Sorrow. The human sovereign skeleton of the celestial realm was also brought back to the heavenly desolate city by Knight Sorrow. Both Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian knew that if Knight Sorrow had not been one step ahead, the heavenly desolate war halberd and the human sovereign skeleton would have fallen into the hands of the Demon Wings clan. Because of Knight Sorrow, the Demon Wings clan had failed to seize the Reincarnation Island. This had a profound impact on their war plans. If the Reincarnation Island had fallen into the hands of the Demon Wings clan, the Demon Wings clan would have already placed their troops in the hinterland of the Celestial Realm. The Gentleman's War was a tactic that Enchanting had deliberately arranged to raise the morale of the Demon Wings clan. It was also because of Night Sorrow's appearance that the Demon Wings clan's cultivators had been killed one after another. Not only had the tactic failed, but it had also helped Night Sorrow. Most importantly, on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, if not for Night Sorrow's interference, Enchanting would have brought Enchanting back to the Demon Imperial City. Would Enchanting have fallen? Kyoka 7 in the Demon Wings clan, Enchanting and Enchanting had already determined that Enchanting had fallen. After Enchanting severed the karma of the past, the Demon Wings clan's enlightening sacred ancestor had truly become a thing of the past. Therefore, Enchanting's statue had cracked. All of this made Enchanting and Enchanting hate Night Sorrow to the core. If they had the chance, they would kill Night Sorrow at all costs. Right now, we need stability. Besides, it's not like we don't have a chance. Our clansmen have captured a criminal from the Celestial Realm that was exiled to the Celestial Wasteland by the 100 Races Alliance. He's from the Green Rock clan. Let him carry a spatial treasure and send him back to the Celestial Realm. Then our chance will come, Enchanting said. This is a chance. When he returns, he will definitely be watched. However, this isn't important. If he brings the spatial treasure into the Celestial Wasteland City or abandons it near the Celestial Wasteland City, we will have a chance to sneak into the Celestial Realm, Enchanting said excitedly. Yes, the time isn't ripe yet. We can't set up a teleportation array that connects the Demon Imperial City and the Celestial Realm directly. We need a fulcrum. If we can find it, we can carry out our plan without anyone knowing, Enchanting said. It was difficult to find a fulcrum near the Nirvana Ocean. Reincarnation Island could do it, but it was occupied by the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. Other than the appearance of Reincarnation Island, when the chi in the Nirvana Ocean was chaotic, it was impossible to fly at any other time. Then, Enchanting, do you have any ideas? Enchanting asked. I have some ideas, but I still need to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. Cultivate to the soul unification stage first. The Celestial Realm's Lord of the Celestial Wasteland City and King Yo-Wu are tough nuts to crack. You have to reach the soul unification stage first. Only then will we not be suppressed by them, Enchanting said. Nodding to Enchanting, Enchanting left. He wasn't a sloppy person. Since Enchanting had a plan, what he needed to do was to work hard to raise his cultivation. After Enchanting left, Enchanting started to think of a feasible plan. The first was the fulcrum. Currently, there were only two suitable places. One was the Reincarnation Island, and the other was the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Some time had passed since the appearance of Reincarnation Island. The Nirvana Ocean had stabilized, and it was difficult to approach. In other words, the Nirvana Ocean Bridge was the most suitable place to be the base of the teleportation array. Chapter 2176. Now was the last era of the Celestial Realm's last reincarnation cycle. Soon, they would enter the secondary Supreme World. The Demon-Winged clan's desire to seize it was not as strong as before. Their target was the new Supreme World, the Nine-Domain World. Enchanting only knew about the Nine-Domain World from the news. He did not have the opportunity to enter. Enchanting felt that once they entered the Nine-Domain World, the Demon-Winged clan and the Celestial Realm would have the same starting point. It would depend on who was more capable and who could gain control. As for the Realm Lord, Night Sorrow, although Enchanting had suffered losses before, he did not feel that it was difficult to deal with him. In his impression, Night Sorrow was still in the early stage of the Emperor Tribulation. His level was still very low. As long as he had the chance, he could easily crush him to death. After pondering for a while, Enchanting sent someone to bring Heaven's Horizon over. He then asked about the specific situation. He had to make some arrangements now. Heaven's Horizon had been occupied by a male member of the demon-winged clan until Enchanting ordered him to take care of him. His life had become better. I already know about the situation you mentioned. You also know about the war between the two clans. Now, you have no choice. If I want you to live, you will live. If I want you to die, you will die. If you do your job well, this seat will give you a chance to live. No matter what happens in the future, this seat will no longer make things difficult for you. After saying that, Enchanting waved his hand and sent an energy imprint into the spirit sea of the Heaven's Horizon. Lord, I am already in this state. Actually, I don't care about life or death. What I want to ask is, what benefits can you give me? Heaven's Horizon's ruthless character was once again revealed. He was afraid of death, but he knew that the demon-winged clan needed him now. You still have the qualifications to ask for benefits. Fine. Say it. Enchanting smiled. Heaven's Horizon was just an ant in front of him. If he dared to talk nonsense with him at any other time, he would directly crush him to death. But now was a special time. He did not care about such details. I want a woman from the demon-winged clan to be my wife. Also, I will do something for you. In the future, you will not interfere with my life. Heaven's Horizon said. Fine. You just have to prepare to do what you need to do. If you succeed, then there will be no problems at all. If you fail, then you just have to wait for your death. Enchanting waved his hand and had his men bring Heaven's Horizon away. Heaven's Cliffs didn't have a high status in the celestial realm. He only knew about the Green Rock race. He didn't know much about the secrets of the 100 races in the celestial realm. Enchanting was too lazy to dig up more information. He didn't know as much as Lu and the others in the celestial realm. Sir, can't you open up a space-time tunnel and send people over? Lu, who had been standing at the side, asked. That won't do. The cultivation base of those who were sent over by the space-time passageway was not high enough to resolve the fundamental problem. Even if they managed to sneak into the 9 domains world, it would be difficult for them to accomplish anything. This time around, I'll head over personally, Enchanting said. My lord, this is too risky. His Excellency is in the Devil Imperial City. The Devil Imperial City is safe and His Excellency is safe. His Excellency is the pillar of the Devil-Winged clan. Lu's face was filled with shock because Enchanting going to the celestial realm was equivalent to cutting off all means of retreat. Pillar. I'm now in the soul-uniting realm. The God-destroying tribulation is in front of me. You should know that in the past 2,000 reincarnations of our devil-winged clan, only one primogenitor came close to passing the God-destroying tribulation. Therefore, I can only plan for an era. In this era, I'll risk it all for the devil-winged clan. In the future, I'll still have to rely on the future generations, on you guys. Enchanting waved his hand and dismissed Lu. Enchanting gave up on the reincarnation island. He planned to sneak into the Nirvana Oceanic Bridge. The 100 Races Alliance didn't pay much attention to the Nirvana Oceanic Bridge and didn't have much defense. The main defense of the 100 races in the celestial realm was the Tianhuang city. In Enchanting's plan, the most crucial point was whether Heaven's Cliffs could bring the spatial treasure into the Tianhuang city. This would determine the success or failure of his plan. After making his decision, Enchanting left. He had to make some arrangements and refine some treasures. There were many places in his plan that required the support of some treasures. After Tran Hung left, Night Sorrow fell into deep thought. It was mainly because of Tran Hung's words that he should pay more attention to the development of the nine-domain world. This had alerted him. The Devil-Winged clan had once sent a batch of people into the celestial realm. Therefore, there was a possibility that a second batch would enter and the attack wouldn't stop. Knight Sorrow wasn't worried about the defense of the nine-domain world. Those with a higher cultivation level than him wouldn't be able to enter, and those with a lower cultivation level would be killed if they entered. As for sneaking in and setting up a teleportation array, that wasn't realistic either. Knight Sorrow's nine-domain doppelganger had been watching the teleportation array area. Even if he wasn't there, the heaven-sealing Great Hall's world origin was still there. If there was a life form that could threaten the world origin, it would be alerted. Knight Sorrow wasn't worried about the nine-domain world. However, Knight Sorrow was worried about the defense of Xingyue City. The defense was still relatively weak. If the Emperor's Tribulation cultivators went in, they wouldn't be able to withstand it and would be massacred. After thinking about it, Knight Sorrow felt that the defense of Xingyue City should be strengthened. He couldn't split himself up. Knight Sorrow's main body was cultivating, and his nine-domain doppelganger couldn't enter the celestial realm. After thinking about it, Knight Sorrow didn't want to interrupt his main body's cultivation, so he could only send his doppelganger back first. After making some arrangements for the stronghold he was staying in, Yi Shang left. He had to prioritize the safety of his base. With the teleportation array, Knight Sorrow left very quickly. Without the teleportation array, his flying speed was also very fast. When he arrived at the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Knight Sorrow looked around and felt that there was no problem. He then returned to Tianhuang City. Without saying goodbye, Knight Sorrow took the teleportation array back to Xingyue City. After looking at the original Great Array, Knight Sorrow started to draw the array diagram. He wanted to set up the strongest defensive Great Array he could. He wanted to deal with the nine-domain world's portal and ensure the safety of Xingyue City to the greatest extent. The highest grade Great Array Knight Sorrow had come into contact with was the unparalleled Great Array set up by Yan Wuxuang. The unparalleled Great Array was extremely powerful. Low-level Emperor's Tribulation cultivators couldn't break it. It was also with the help of this Great Array that Yan Wuxuang had been fighting with Mo Tianji for countless years. Knight Sorrow's array Dao cultivation wasn't any weaker than Yan Wuxuang's. He had mastered the unparalleled Great Array, and he also had his own understanding of array Dao. Drawing the array diagram was a troublesome matter. Knight Sorrow had to constantly modify and perfect it. Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and the others didn't disturb Knight Sorrow. After modifying and perfecting it bit by bit, it took Knight Sorrow half a month to finish drawing the array diagram. The array diagram was drawn according to the terrain of Xingyue Island. In terms of level, it had already surpassed the unparalleled Great Array. Looking at the hashtag on the original TN chapter? After drawing the array diagram, Knight Sorrow started to set up the array. At the crucial point, Knight Sorrow used the Monarch Spirit Stone. Knight Sorrow felt that since Xingyue City was the portal to the nine-domain world, it was worth it to pay a huge price. While Knight Sorrow was busy, Mo Zhantian was refining the required treasures in the time-accelerated treasure. He then left Devil Imperial City and went to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Chapter 2177. After traversing more than half of the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Mo Zhantian felt that it was time for him to make his move. However, in order to avoid risks, he continued to explore. When he discovered Knight Sorrow's true body, Mo Zhantian's murderous intent surged. He really wanted to rush over and kill Knight Sorrow, but he couldn't do that. He had to bear with it for the sake of the bigger picture. After retreating some distance, Mo Zhantian took out an awl. With a wave of his arm, he shot the awl into the depths of the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. His body followed closely behind and entered the Nirvana Ocean Bridge as well. After reaching the depths of the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Mo Jiantian controlled the pendant-shaped treasure to expand and slowly squeeze it upwards and downwards. As the owl's head was pushed upwards, a space was formed below. Mo Jiantian used his energy hand and pressed it in all directions, squeezing the walls of the space and making the space barrier sturdy. After an hour, a separate space was formed under the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Seeing that the space was big enough, Mo Jiantian set up a formation. This formation didn't affect the flow of energy and only had the effect of strengthening it. After the space was stabilized, Mo Jiantian set up a teleportation array. The teleportation array was inlaid with an imperial-grade teleportation crystal. It was a treasure of the demon-winged clan. There were only 2 of them in the entire clan. One was used to connect the demon imperial city to Tianhuang, while the other was used to connect the demon imperial city to the celestial realm. After the teleportation crystal lit up, Mo Jiantian knew that the teleportation array was working. He then inserted a spare teleportation crystal to connect to the celestial realm's teleportation array. After checking again to make sure there were no mistakes, Mo Jiantian took the teleportation array and returned to the demon imperial city. It was done. After Mo Jiantian returned to the demon imperial city, he knew that the teleportation array was successful. He also understood that simple meant high risk. During the teleportation, there would be energy fluctuations. If a cultivator happened to pass by, they would be discovered. However, this risk was unavoidable. He couldn't go to the reincarnation island, so this was the only way. In addition, the teleportation array on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge could only be used a few times. When teleporting to the celestial realm, the space-time tunnel would appear in the Tianhuang city. It would be easy to be discovered. Once discovered, the teleportation array on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge could be easily dug out. Once. What should I do if it's just once? Do I have to use a spatial treasure to bring everyone there? Mo Jiantian was in a dilemma. He had to make a plan if he was discovered to teleport once. After coming up with a plan, Mo Jiantian began to implement it. He called for Heaven's Cliffs again. The plan is about to be carried out. All you need to do is bring this spatial treasure across the heavenly desolate city and into the heavenly realm. No matter where it is, your mission will be completed. Your request will also be granted. If you fail, then die. Mo Jiantian's eyes flashed with killing intent as he spoke. Heaven's horizon bowed. He knew that this was the time for him to risk his life. If he succeeded, then he would live. If he failed, then he would have to accept his fate. Mo Lu, go gather the younger generation of our 100 Kings tribe. This time, I will bring them to the celestial realm. If we can enter the 9 regions world, it will be a long battle. After this era, I can't say what will happen. The future will be a matter for the younger generation. Mo Jiantian made the arrangements. Mo Lu nodded and went to make the arrangements. He knew that Mo Jiantian was prepared to cut off all means of retreat and carry out a big plan. If he succeeded, the Devil-Winged clan would welcome a new era. If he failed, the consequences would be disastrous. Mo Lu also understood that the Devil-Winged clan had to make a move. If they didn't change, the situation would become more and more passive. The cultivation environment and conditions of the Supreme World and the Sub-Supreme World were completely different. This was also the reason why the Demon Wing clan started the war. In the past 1,000 reincarnations, the Demon Wing clan wasn't left behind by the 100 races in the Celestial Realm because the Demon Imperial City had taken root in the Celestial Realm and occupied Tianhuang. The development environment of the Demon Wing clan and the Celestial Realm was the same. However, it was different after an era. The 100 races in the Celestial Realm could develop in the new Supreme World. The Demon Wing clan, who only developed in the Sub-Supreme World, couldn't compare. There was no longer any possibility of victory. Knight Zoro's original body was cultivating. His doppelganger was in Xingyue City. This time, he paid a huge price. Night Sorrow wanted to use this place as the third layer of the celestial realm for defense. He wanted to increase the defensive strength to the same level as Tianhuang City and Shendu City. Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, Lord of Heaven Shenhu and the others all felt the changes. The Origin Dao Lord of Heaven, or rather, the Origin Dao Emperor, was also in Xingyue City. He went to the Origin Dao Heavenly Inheritance Earth Origin Dao Island. However, the leader of the Origin Dao Island, Emperor Han Yang, didn't think much of him. Instead, he kept asking about the situation of the world of reincarnation and the amount of resources. This made him feel that they weren't the same kind of people. Therefore, he found a suitable place for cultivation. He raised his cultivation to the 9th level and returned to Xingyue City. The departure of the Yuan Dao Emperor made Emperor Han Yang very puzzled. How could a cultivator from the lower worlds be so unyielding? At the same time, he was a little angry because this was not giving him face. When the people he sent out reported the results of the investigation to him, Emperor Han Yang's face turned ugly. It could be said that it was very interesting. Translator, Timothy_editor, Globeglotter Y. Because the Origin Dao Emperor came from the Primal Chaos Realm and Night Sorrow was the domain lord of the Primal Chaos Realm. What did this mean? This meant that the Origin Dao Emperor was someone Night Sorrow was familiar with. Emperor Han Yang smiled bitterly. He knew that he had unintentionally missed out on a lot of things. Although it was true that the Origin Dao Island wanted to develop and look for resources in the Primal Chaos Realm, he was blind to look for resources in the Primal Chaos Realm that Night Sorrow belonged to. Besides, he also knew that his actions had made the Origin Dao Emperor lose his sense of belonging. While setting up the large array to rest, the Origin Dao Emperor went to Night Sorrow's side and brewed a pot of tea for Night Sorrow. Origin Dao Emperor, didn't you return to the Primal Chaos Realm? Little Luo and the rest are cultivating in the 9-domain city, Night Sorrow said after sitting down. Domain Lord, I plan to change my title. I don't want the 2 words Origin Dao anymore, the Origin Dao Emperor said. Why? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. The Origin Dao Heavenly of the world of reincarnation will no longer have anything to do with the Origin Dao Island of the celestial realm. The Origin Dao Emperor sighed. After being stunned for a moment, Night Sorrow asked. He knew that something must have happened. The Origin Dao Emperor did not hide anything from Night Sorrow and told him everything that had happened. We don't have to share anything with each other. Since we're not on the same side, then forget it. There's nothing to worry about. It's good to change your title. They need resources, so we don't blame them. But please don't have any ideas about our Primal Chaos region. If they cause trouble for you, you can come and find me, said Yi Shang. Chapter 2178. He probably investigated me and the situation in the Primal Chaos realm and found out about our relationship. That's why he came to see you. I really looked down on him, said the Yuan Dao Emperor. Night Sorrow smiled. Then forget it. There's no need to see him. We don't make things difficult for anyone, but we don't make friends with everyone. Ghost Monkey, go back and tell him that you didn't find me. Ghost Monkey bowed to Night Sorrow and left the Star Moon City. The Yuan Dao Emperor asked about Night Sorrow's title. He hoped that Night Sorrow would help him choose a suitable title. There's no need to maintain the relationship between the Yuan Dao Celestial Realm and the Yuan Dao Island. That's a new force. You'll be the first generation. How about you call yourself the Primal Emperor? Night Sorrow thought for a while and suggested a new title. The Yuan Dao Emperor stood up and cupped his fists to Night Sorrow. Thank you, Domain Lord, for the title. I'll accept the title of Primal Emperor. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the Primal Emperor had resolved a problem. The Primal Emperor might be able to tolerate being looked down on, but he definitely wouldn't tolerate his hometown being targeted. Knight Sorrow could understand because he was the same kind of person. Emperor Han Yang, who was waiting in the Night Moon Manor, shook his head helplessly after hearing Ghost Monkey's reply. He knew that the Yuan Dao Emperor's line was broken. He couldn't use this line to connect with Knight Sorrow and the Nine-Domain world. Emperor Han Yang felt that it was a pity. The Nine-Domain world was a supreme world. It was already public knowledge in the celestial realm. If he could connect with it, there would be room for development. Who knew that the primal chaos realm and the Nine-Domain world were the same force? Can you blame me for being blind? After leaving the Night Moon Manor, Emperor Han Yang scolded himself and sighed. He still had some worries in his heart. It was fine if he couldn't connect with the Primal Emperor, but if he attracted the hostility of the Primal Chaos realm, he would be done for. Version 3E was released. Knight Sorrow was constantly perfecting the array. He still planned to go to the Heaven Desolate Mountain to play. He already treated the peak of the Heaven Desolate Mountain as his territory. Monarch Yuanchu had studied Array Dao, but his level was too low. His cultivation base was too low, and his soul power was insufficient. This resulted in him being unable to set up many Array Dao. When Knight Sorrow was setting up the Array Dao, Monarch Yuanchu watched from the side. Because it was a composite array formation, Knight Sorrow would also explain some of the principles of array formation when setting up a single array formation. If he couldn't understand it, the Yuanchu Emperor would record it down. This was the truth of the formation path. In the future, it would bring him different insights in the cultivation of the formation path. Qing Emperor, Heavenly Monarch Shenhu, Tang Jianfeng, and the others often came to look for Knight Sorrow to drink. They also asked for guidance on some difficult cultivation problems. Knight Sorrow was not stingy with his guidance at all. He hoped that the primal chaos realm would rise again. Knight Sorrow took a sip of wine and said, "Uncle Tang, Heavenly Monarch Shenhu, when you have nothing to do, you can go out and walk around the celestial realm. You have been stuck at the Heavenly Monarch realm for many years. In the past, the primal chaos realm was restricted by the Heavenly Dao's rules and couldn't become great emperors. Now that the rules are no longer there, you have to find your own opportunities and walk your own path." Tang Jianfeng smiled and said, "The celestial realm is more stable now. It's not a problem for us to go out and walk around. In the past, the celestial realm was so chaotic. If we went out, we would easily be captured and forced to do manual labor. There are very few such vicious forces nowadays. Don't go causing trouble. If there's any trouble, just back off. If there's any danger, just report that I'm from the primal chaos realm in my name. That way, you shouldn't be in too much danger," Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Heavenly Monarch Shenhu said, "The name of the realm lord should be able to avoid some danger. The main thing is that we don't meet those who don't care about anything and directly kill us to silence us." Heavenly Monarch Shenhu said, "Shenhu, this kind of thing almost never happens. Everyone has a doppelganger. If you kill the original body, the news will still be leaked. Moreover, with the existence of divination, people usually don't kill people to silence them." Qing Emperor said with a smile. "Yes, to be able to suppress you, it must be a cultivator above the 9th level. Cultivators above the 9th level have all been through a lot. They won't bring death to themselves just to kill people they don't have any enmity with." Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Heavenly Monarch Shenhu, Tang Jianfeng, and the others nodded. They all understood. After drinking, Knight Sorrow watched Heavenly Monarch Shenhu, Tang Jianfeng, and the others leave and shook his head. "Knight Sorrow, do you feel that something is wrong?" Qing Emperor asked. Knight Sorrow looked at Qing Emperor and Heavenly Monarch Yuanchu and said, "A cultivator must have a fearless heart. But if you are afraid, it will not be good for your state of mind." "Yes. Because everyone is living too comfortably, they have lost their drive to improve. Later on, we have to gather together to discuss this. Qing Emperor sighed. Some things only needed to be pointed out by others and everyone would understand. In fact, some people in the chaos realm were living too comfortably. They had lost their drive to be brave. This was what Knight Sorrow wanted to say but couldn't. But now, Qing Emperor said it out loud. They didn't bring this topic up again. Yishang drank half a jar of wine and continued to set up the matrix. As for whether everyone would cultivate peacefully or advance bravely, everyone's choice was different. That was enough for him to say. A month later, Knight Sorrow finished setting up the city defense array of Xingyue City. Then, Knight Sorrow went to Night Moon Villa and told them that if anyone attacked, they were to activate the array of Night Moon Villa immediately. Then, they would retreat to Xingyue City and take out the teleportation crystals. Then, Yishang rushed to Heavenly Desolate City. At this time, Heaven's Horizon appeared on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and flew towards Tianhuang City. There was a bronze hairpin in his bun. That was Mo Zhantian's spatial treasure. Mo Zhantian's plan had now officially come into contact with the Celestial Realm's 100 races. The success of his plan mainly depended on whether Heaven's Horizon could return to the Celestial Realm's 100 races alliance. As long as Heaven's Horizon was allowed to enter Tianhuang City and return to the Celestial Realm, his plan would succeed. When Heaven's Horizon appeared in the range of Mo Zhantian's soul power, Knight Sorrow stood up from the Haotian Godly Pagoda and released his precept domain to block Heaven's Horizon. He found it strange because he had been in Tianhuang City for so long. When he flew back and forth in the Tianhuang Mountains to search for traces of the demon-winged clan, there was no news about Heaven's Horizon. What's wrong? I was exiled. I have the ability to return. Are you still going to stop me? Heaven's Horizon was blocked by Knight Sorrow. His eyes were full of anger because the scene of Knight Sorrow hitting him with the golden brick was still in his mind. It was also because he was exiled that he suffered some humiliation. Who said you were exiled? Knight Sorrow pulled out the blood-chill evil-slaying spear from his back. Back then, you abandoned me outside the gates of Nirvana City. That was the end of the grudge between us. Today, I came back because of my abilities. If you want to kill me, you have to be able to shut everyone up. You have to be morally upright. Heaven's Horizon said as he looked at the Heaven Wasteland army flying over. Chapter 2179. I was wrong in the past, but I paid the price. Everyone saw it. Killing people is just a small matter. What else do you want? Heaven's Horizon's words were sharp, but his eyes were not firm enough. He looked around, trying to find someone to speak for him. Knight Sorrow stood there, and the Heaven Wasteland army stood behind him, waiting for orders. If Knight Sorrow ordered to capture him, they would immediately capture Heaven's Horizon. Alliance Master. Pu Luo and the Great Demon King rushed over after being notified by the guards at the gate of Nirvana City. He's back. He feels that he has paid the price. He thinks that I can't make things difficult for him, so he wants to tie me up with morality. Knight Sorrow smiled. He was almost certain that there was something wrong with Heaven's Horizon. Normally, Heaven's Horizon would fly into a rage when he saw him. Alliance Master, there's something wrong with him. He must hate me, but now he doesn't even look at me. Pu Luo's soul transmitted to Knight Sorrow's spirit sea. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, Heaven's Horizon, you're not smart because you don't know who I am. When I do something, I don't find a reason to do it. Capture him. Knight Sorrow waved his arm and gave the order. Heaven's Horizon was an imperial emperor, so how could he resist? He was directly suppressed by the Great Demon King's precept domain and knelt on the ground. Then, 2 soldiers of the Heaven Wasteland army came forward and pressed his shoulders, then took out a secret chain to tie him up. Luo, there must be something wrong with him. There must be a member of the Demon Wing clan in his spatial treasure. We can't be sure how high the cultivation level of that member is, so we must first stabilize the situation. I will send someone to inform my master, Marshal Qingya, to come here. Yi Shang and Pu Luo communicated via soul transmission. Pu Luo did not say anything, nor did he respond to Night's sorrow. He stepped forward and grabbed the chain that bound Heaven's horizon, slowly pulling him toward Heaven Wasteland City. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger was already teleporting to Shin-Du City. If it was a personal matter, Night Sorrow would have directly taken action, but now he had to be careful. Night Sorrow put away the clear sky pagoda and chatted with Pu Luo. At the same time, the two of them were still communicating with their soul powers. The reason why he thought that there was something wrong with Heaven's Horizon was because it was unreasonable for Heaven's Horizon to stay in Infinite Wasteland for such a long time. He had slept for 700 years. What was the Heaven's Horizon doing during these 700 years? Has he been hiding in Infinite Wasteland all this time? If he has been hiding in Infinite Wasteland, why didn't he come back when the city gate was always open? The most likely possibility was that Heaven's Horizon had been captured by the Demon Wing clan. Now, he had become a spy for the Demon Wing clan and had some missions to complete. Pu Luo agreed with Night Sorrow's analysis. His idea was the same as Night Sorrow's. They would first stabilize Heaven's Horizon and wait for King Yowu to arrive. Then, they would slowly investigate what Heaven's Horizon was carrying. Night Sorrow and Pu Luo's soul powers had already locked onto Heaven's Horizon's surroundings. Night Sorrow had also informed the Great Demon King to prepare for battle at any time. After entering Infinite Wasteland City, Heaven's Horizon was much more relaxed because his mission was almost complete. As long as he threw away the hairpin on his head when no one was paying attention, his character would be finished. Night Sorrow, Pu Luo, and the Great Demon King were very calm. Heaven's Horizon was also very calm. However, Mo Zhantian was not. His soul powers in the space treasure did not move, but the soul powers in Heaven's Horizon Spirit Sea were observing everything. He was sure that Night Sorrow and the others did not trust Heaven's Horizon. Now, they were moving forward slowly to buy time. He had to think of a way. Mo Zhantian controlled the soul powers he left in Heaven's Horizon Spirit Sea to vibrate. He triggered the wind energy and messed up Heaven's Horizon's hair, causing the hairpin to fall to the ground. Heaven's Horizon naturally knew all of this was Mo Zhantian's method. He stepped hard on the hairpin and continued moving forward. Night Sorrow stopped and picked up the hairpin. Although you have a bad record, you are still a descendant of the Divine Beast clan. I don't want you to be too embarrassed. Clean up yourself later. Night Sorrow gently tossed the hairpin back into Heaven's Horizon's arms. In Night Sorrow's eyes, everything on Heaven's Horizon was within his range. If Heaven's Horizon wanted to throw something away, he would naturally throw it back to Heaven's Horizon. This small disturbance also made Night Sorrow certain that the problem was with the hairpin. It was true that the sea breeze in Infinite Wasteland City was strong, but as an emperor, how could Heaven's Horizon let the sea breeze mess up his hair? It was obvious that something was wrong with the hairpin falling. Heaven's Horizon, I won't put the blame on you, but your character is low. I won't allow you to jump around in Infinite Wasteland City. Later, I will ask someone from your Green Rock clan to come and take you away. You will completely scram and never appear in Infinite Wasteland City again. Night Sorrow clapped his hands and said after throwing the hairpin back into Heaven's Horizon's arms. Night Sorrow's words were not for Heaven's Horizon, but for the people in the hairpin space. He wanted to calm them down. He wasn't sure who was in the space treasure. If either Mo Zhantian or Mo Yutian were there, it would be big trouble. If the cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors were to attack, no one would be able to stop them. The only ones who could stop them were the 3 giants of the celestial realm. Of course, Mo Tianji of the Nine Domains world could also do it, but she wouldn't fight against the demon-winged clan. Mo Zhantian, who had originally planned to attack immediately, narrowed his eyes and pondered. He didn't know if Night Sorrow's last sentence was true. If it was true, then attacking now would be equivalent to wasting a great opportunity. If Heaven's Horizon could really be taken away by the Green Rock clan, then he would be able to sneak into the celestial realm without being discovered. He would then be targeted and defended. However, Mo Zhantian felt that Night Sorrow's words weren't very trustworthy, because from the beginning to the end, Heaven's Horizon hadn't been treated well. Between believing and not believing, Mo Zhantian was conflicted. He was also conflicted about whether he should attack or not. Night Sorrow was also worried. He also knew that his opponent wouldn't necessarily believe his words, but they would definitely consider and hesitate. This hesitation was what Night Sorrow needed. His doppelganger had already arrived at the Heaven Desolate Mountain and was telling King Yowu that he would be here soon. Heaven's Horizon was very happy to hear Night Sorrow's words. He felt that things would go smoothly. As long as no one attacked him now, he would be able to wait until the Green Rock clan's people came to pick him up. At that time, his crisis would be completely resolved. Not only would there be no danger, but he could also have fun with a woman from the Demon-Winged clan. Heaven's Horizon moved forward. Pu Luo followed Night Sorrow's instructions and carried the chain that bound Heaven's Horizon to the Heaven Wasteland Tower. When they were near the tower and King Yowu arrived, then it would be time to turn hostile. Pu Luo and the Great Demon King were also very nervous. The Great Demon King waved his hand and signaled the rest of the Heaven Wasteland army to leave. He was worried that a battle between experts would hurt the innocent. Chapter 2180. With a shake of his body, Mo Zhantian appeared in front of Heaven's Horizon and stared at Night Sorrow. Drag him to the back and kill him. Night Sorrow gave the order after glancing at Heaven's Horizon, which Pu Luo had thrown to the commander of the Heaven Wasteland army. Night Sorrow. I didn't expect you to be so cautious. But so what? You're just an ant. Mo Zhantian released his soul power and found that the three giants of the celestial realm were not in Heaven Wasteland City, so he knew that things would go smoothly. He's an ant. Night Sorrow cultivated to the tribulation of the four emperors for more than 1,000 years. What was your cultivation when you were 1,000 years old? You're probably worse than an ant. You're trash. Lin Piaomiao appeared beside Night Sorrow. You'll all die later. Mo Zhantian turned around and flew toward the teleportation formation. He planned to destroy it first so that the three giants of the celestial realm would not be able to come to his aid in time. Descend. Night Sorrow waved his arm and the Heaven Wasteland Tower shone brightly, suppressing Mo Zhantian who was about to fly. After the light descended, Mo Zhantian's flying speed slowed down. The Heaven Wasteland Tower was the divine weapon of the 100 races of the celestial realm. It had stood in Heaven Wasteland City for countless years and was extremely powerful. Night Sorrow used the origin of the world to activate it, so Mo Zhantian's flying speed was limited. Destructive True Dragon Incantation. Night Sorrow attacked. He had to restrain Mo Zhantian at this time. If Mo Zhantian destroyed the teleportation formation, it would be difficult for his doppelganger and King Yowu to come. Kill. Pu Luo attacked Mo Zhantian directly. The Great Demon King and Lin Piaomiao also moved. This was a critical moment. Even if they died, they had to control Mo Zhantian. Mo Zhantian was shocked. He did not expect Night Sorrow to be able to control the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. He knew the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda well. It was the #1 divine tool of the 100 races in the celestial realm. Originally, it was controlled by Tran Hung, but now, it was controlled by Night Sorrow. Its power was greatly suppressed. With a muffled sound, Pu Luo was pushed back by Mo Zhantian. Pu Luo was a Four Emperors Tribulation cultivator. Even though Mo Zhantian's strength was suppressed, he was not someone he could fight against. He was injured in one move. Yo! Yo! After repelling Pu Luo, Mo Zhantian's forward momentum was also restrained. Then, he brandished his long sword towards Knight Soro's Samsara halberd. As the weapons clashed, there was an explosion of energy. Knight Soro was also pushed back. The negative effect of the destructive True Dragon incantation did not have any effect. Mo Zhantian's protection precept domain attacked in all directions. Knight Soro's soul power was directly dispersed. At this time, Lin Piaomiao and the Great Demon King's attacks also arrived. They were not as strong as Knight Soro and Pu Luo, so they were directly pushed back. Mo Zhantian, you dare to come to the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. Die! The Golden Dragon King appeared and waved his long sword towards Mo Zhantian. Knight Soro floated back. He separated his right and left arms that were holding the spear. Then, he swung his spear downwards. A circular light circle appeared at the top of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda, and then bombarded Mo Zhantian. This was the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda gathering the power of the world to attack Mo Zhantian. The Celestial Realm's origin reincarnated. Although the Celestial Realm did not have its origin, it still had the power of the world. After all, it was a supreme world, so its attack power was very violent. Mo Zhantian felt threatened. His body flashed, and he dodged the thunderous attack of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. Following the explosion, a bottomless crater appeared where Mo Zhantian had been standing. After the energy dispersed, it gathered and pressed down on Mo Zhantian once more. Not good. Mo Zhantian felt that this was not good. The power of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda controlled by Knight Soro was too strong. Not only did the attack power threaten his safety, but the continuous suppression of the energy was also causing his strength to decrease. Now, the attack power he displayed was only at the level of an 8 Emperor's Tribulation. Kill Knight Soro first, then break the teleportation array. The energy waves on Mo Zhantian's body violently surged in all directions, forcing all the people attacking him to retreat. Then, he rushed towards Knight Soro with rolling momentum. His speed was extremely fast. As a cultivator of the Soul Fusion realm, even if he was suppressed, his combat power was still extremely terrifying. Void Step, Spacetime Realm. Knight Soro used the 2 ultimate skills and entered a different space to avoid Mo Zhantian's attack. When his attack missed, Mo Zhantian recalled the time when he fought with Knight Soro's doppelganger to save Mo Tianji. Knight Soro's movement technique and defense were outstanding. It was difficult to kill him. If this continued, the giants of the Celestial Realm would rush back. At that time, with the suppression of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda, he would be in danger. Leave. Mo Zhantian knew that the most important thing now was to leave. Slash. Mo Zhantian's protection precept domain surged in all directions. He then slashed with his sword. He wanted to create an energy passage to leave the Heaven Wasteland city. Intercept, suppress. Knight Soro ordered. At the same time, he continued to mobilize the energy of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda to suppress Mo Zhantian. Knight Soro knew that this was a crisis, but it was also an opportunity. If he could stop Mo Zhantian, not only would the crisis be resolved, but it would also be an opportunity to deal a heavy blow to the Demon-Winged clan. Hearing Knight Soro's order, the Golden Dragon King, Pu Luo, Lin Piaomiao, and the Great Demon King all moved to intercept Mo Zhantian. The Golden Dragon King and the others were repelled time and time again. This was because the suppression of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda under Knight Soro's control was strong. Although Mo Zhantian was strong, he could not kill him. At most, he could only injure him. Mo Zhantian, you can't do whatever you want. You want to commit murder in the heart of the Celestial Realm. Perhaps this will be the beginning of your decline. Knight Sorrow's body kept moving. His soul power mobilized the energy of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda to bombard Enchanting. Even if the attacks missed, they would not be wasted. After they gathered, they would suppress Enchanting. You can't do whatever you want either. Enchanting was shocked. Like Tianji, he also collected the power of faith. He understood the virtuous monarchs and virtuous monarchs of the celestial realm. He knew what it meant to obey orders. The words of the virtuous monarchs were often the truth. It was not an exaggeration to say that their words were golden. Haha. Let's give it a try then. Knight Sorrow looked at Enchanting's serious expression and knew that his words had a great impact on Enchanting. The energy kept colliding and rolling. The battle between a few Emperor Tribulation cultivators and a Soul Unification cultivator was destructive. Even the sputtering energy could kill emperors and monarchs. Fortunately, the energy of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda was restraining it, so it did not cause too much harm. I'm not going to play with you guys today. The next time we meet, I'll take your lives one by one. Demon King 9 slashes. After Enchanting finished speaking, he pointed the long sword in his hand to the sky. Then, he slashed forward. He had used his ultimate skill. He wanted to kill his way out of the Heaven Wasteland City. This was not just his personal matter. There were many young elites of the Demon-Winged clan in his spatial treasure. He could not afford to lose them. Chapter 2181. Enchanting's expression changed drastically. After slashing out with his sword, he held it with both hands and roared, heart and sword as one. With a roar, Enchanting's body and the long sword became one. The long sword was so bright that it was almost impossible to look at it directly. Then, it shot out of the area controlled by the Wasteland Tower. Slash! Knight Sorrow roared. Countless energy blades formed at the tip of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda and slashed at Enchanting's sword. B-L-S ding, ding, ding. A series of crisp sounds rang out. Several Heaven Wasteland blades slashed at Enchanting's sword, causing a string of blood to fall from the sky. Enchanting's speed had increased after using the heart and sword as one technique, but his defense had decreased. He had been injured by the Sky Desolation blade that contained the power of the Heavenly Way, the power of origin, and the power of virtue. Suppress! Knight Sorrow roared again. A halo appeared on the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda once again and pressed down on Enchanting's sword. However, the effect was not good. Enchanting's heart and sword as one technique had a small surface area and was still very fast. Heavenly Spear Art. Knight Sorrow used his secret technique again. He used the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda's energy to draw in the energy of heaven and earth. He used Yi Tianxin's secret technique, Heavenly Spear Art. Heaven and earth changed color. Knight Sorrow used his secret technique without caring about the cost. This consumed 30% of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda's energy. With King Yawu's arrival, Knight Sorrow no longer had to worry about the defense. Countless golden spear lights appeared in the sky above the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. Damn it! Enchanting's sword of light incarnation let out an angry roar. Then, as he flew, he activated his energy to defend himself. He knew that Knight Sorrow's move was too powerful. If he didn't defend himself, the consequences would be unimaginable. Kill! Knight Sorrow waved his arm and guided the heavenly spear light towards Enchanting's heart and sword as fast as lightning. The sound of explosions rang out continuously. Enchanting's incarnation of the heart sword was continuously bombarded, and the light gradually weakened. At the same time, blood flowed out continuously. He had already been injured by the heavenly spear light, and his injuries were quite severe. Well done. Let's see where you can run to today. King Yawu arrived. He was furious because Enchanting had launched a sneak attack and bullied a junior. Knight Sorrow's face was pale. That all-out attack had wasted a large amount of his soul power. However, he knew that Enchanting was not feeling well either. Even if it was not a serious injury, Enchanting's strength had been greatly reduced. Knight Sorrow, Enchanting, will definitely kill you. After Enchanting received the attack, his speed increased. After the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda released its full-strength attack, the restraining power on him was not much, and his speed also increased. We'll talk about it when you're alive. King Yawu chased after Enchanting. His soul power had already locked onto Enchanting. He wouldn't let Enchanting leave just like that. Enchanting's heart sword was extremely fast. Knight Sorrow and the others did not chase after him because they could not catch up. Sect Elder Lin mobilized the resources of the Elders Association and fill the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. Knight Sorrow ordered. At the same time, he crushed Tran Hung's soul crystal. He was worried that Enchanting would also attack, and he would not be able to defend himself in his current state. Those bastards of the Demon-Winged clan, what are they trying to do? Are they going all out? Pu Luo and the others came to Knight Sorrow's side. In the last era, everyone will show their abilities. The Demon-Winged clan is naturally going all out, Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow, how many Saint Spirit stones do you need? Lin Piaomiao came to Knight Sorrow's side and asked. No need, I'll think of a way myself. The Elders Association should be responsible for the resources of the Heaven Wasteland Army first. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow did not plan to use the resources of the Elders Association. The resources of the Elders Association are not a problem. In order to prepare for the war, we have a lot of resources. I'll go fill it up now. With that, Sect Elder Qin entered the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. Alliance leader, don't we need to think of a way? The Great Demon King asked. We can't help in the battle between the tribulation of the 9 emperors and the cultivators of the syncretic soul realm. But don't worry, Enchanting won't have an advantage in the hands of martial Uncle King Yawu. Knight Sorrow shook his head. Knight Sorrow knew that martial Uncle King Yawu's original battle strength was above Enchanting's and Enchanting's. After the syncretic soul realm, martial Uncle King Yawu's advantage was even more obvious. In addition, Enchanting had already been injured by a full-strength attack from the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. After the battle ended, Knight Sorrow's original body and doppelganger did not leave. They stayed near the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda and watched the Elders Association clean up the battlefield. The battle had blown up the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda, and now it needed to be cleaned and repaired. Although we expected the Heavens Cliffs to be a spy and that there would be experts coming, the situation is still very shocking, Pu Luo said. Knight Sorrow nodded. The development of the situation was a little different from what he had expected. In his expectation, he would first stabilize the opponent in the spatial treasure of the Heavens Cliffs and wait for martial Uncle King Yawu to arrive. Then, he would use the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda to help and finish off the enemy. He did not expect Enchanting to not have any wishful thinking and to fight directly, which led to some changes in the situation. But the result was still good. Enchanting was injured, which created more opportunities for martial Uncle King Yawu. Pay attention to the defense first. But with Enchanting's appearance, there are still many experts of the Demon Wing clan. Knight Sorrow felt that they had to stabilize the situation first. After an hour, Tran Hung came back. After listening to Knight Sorrow's report, he nodded. Well done. Let me take a look at the memory crystal ball and see how much strength he has after being injured. Tran Hung flew into the air and took a crystal ball from the 3rd pagoda. This memory crystal ball will be activated after receiving a certain amount of energy impact. After looking at the image in the memory crystal ball, Tran Hung said, Enchanting's injuries are not light. The forbidden energy you used to control the sky drawing spear technique has already injured his life source, which will affect his combat strength. He escaped in the direction of the celestial realm, so he should have other plans. City Lord, do you have any ideas and arrangements? Knight Sorrow asked. What do you think is appropriate? What ideas do you have? Tran Hung looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Enchanting came to the celestial realm to make plans in the celestial realm. So we have to control him. We can't plant a bomb in the celestial realm. The only one left who can threaten us is Enchanting. In the celestial realm, only the City Lord and the Grand Elder can stop him. The Grand Elder will stay at the Samsara Island and don't move for now. Summon the Supreme Elders of the Divine Beast clan to the Celestial Desolate City to guard against the second wave of attacks from the Demon Wing clan. If Enchanting appears, there will be experts of the Divine Beast clan to hold him off. Then we can inform the Grand Elder to come back. Knight Sorrow said. Chapter 2182. In the war between the Celestial Realm and the Demon-Winged Clan, aside from defensive measures and so on, the main difference in power was in the realm of peak cultivators. If they could kill a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator, then they would be able to pull apart the advantage. Just like now, if Knight Sorrow had not subdued Enchanting and the 3 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivators of the Demon-Winged Clan attacked together, then the Celestial Realm's 100 clans would be in great danger. The 3 giants of the Celestial Realm's 100 clans would have to defend Tianhuang City. In the past, the Demon-Winged Clan had launched several large-scale attacks. Before Enchanting and Yan Wushuang clashed, the Celestial Realm's 2 cities had 4 experts, and the Demon-Winged Clan had no advantage. After Enchanting and Yan Wushuang fought, the Demon-Winged Clan's peak experts were still 1 less than the Celestial Realm's 100 clans, and they did not have the power to break through Tianhuang City. Afterwards, Enchanting returned to Devil Imperial City, but she lost her original body. Her power was greatly reduced, and she did not have the power to attack. Enchanting became one of Yi Shang's subordinates. The Demon-Winged Clan had even less power to attack. Tran Hung left, and Knight Sorrow hurriedly arranged for people to set up defenses. At the same time, he ordered the City Lord's mansion to prepare for battle, urging the experts of each Divine Beast clan to come. Other than the Golden Dragon King who was originally in Tianhuang City, the Council of Elders notified the Heavenly Astral King, Huang Ling, Blood Qilin King, Ancestor Green Rock, and the Black Tortoise King who had returned to their clans. When the Council of Elders asked Knight Sorrow whether or not to notify the White Tiger King, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and shook his head. The White Tiger constellation has always been sealed, so we will not disturb them for now. If Enchanting comes, our current power can contain and hold him back. We can hold out until the Grand Elder returns. Great Commander, when I returned to the clan during that time, the clan elder asked about Tianhuang City. He is very concerned about Tianhuang City, so it is appropriate for him to come now. Lin Chuan said. Let him come. After not seeing each other for so many years, we should gather. This is already the last era of the Celestial Realm. He should not always lie down in the White Tiger territory. The Golden Dragon King spoke. After everything was arranged, Knight Sorrow checked the situation of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. He found that Qin Qinjie had added 2 million Saint Spirit Stones to the pagoda. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow went to the core of the Heaven Wasteland Tower. With 1,000 Emperor Spirit Stones as the foundation and an Emperor Spirit Stone as the core, he set up a spirit gathering array to gather energy. This way, the offensive and defensive capabilities of the Heaven Wasteland Tower were raised to another level. Then, Knight Sorrow changed the Spirit Stones in the base of the defensive array around the Heaven Wasteland Tower and used the Monarch Spirit Stone. As the level of the formation increased, the practitioners in the Heavenly Desolate City all sensed the change, because the sky above the Heavenly Desolate City was filled with surging energy. The Golden Dragon King came to find Night Sorrow. Seeing that Night Sorrow was still constantly perfecting the defensive array, he understood everything. Monarch's Spirit Stone. Seeing that Night Sorrow was continuously taking out spirit stones, the Golden Dragon King's eyes were full of shock. After Night Sorrow finished changing an array foundation, he clapped his hands and asked the Golden Dragon King, "It's a Monarch Spirit Stone. I also changed the core area for an Emperor Spirit Stone. Do you want it?" "Yes, we'll play with them together," the Golden Dragon King said. Night Sorrow took out a small bag of Monarch Spirit Stones and Emperor Spirit Stones and handed them to the Golden Dragon King. "I'm just playing with them. You need them in many places." The Golden Dragon King reached out and only took one. With a smile, Night Sorrow took out another Emperor Spirit Stone and threw it to the Golden Dragon King. "This is not bad. It's equivalent to a pile of Emperor Spirit Stones. I can't bear to use it." Holding the Emperor Spirit Stone, the Golden Dragon King was stunned. He had never heard of the Emperor Spirit Stone. The Emperor Spirit Stone was a legendary item. "This is good stuff. There are only a few pieces in the world." Night Sorrow looked at the dazed Golden Dragon King and said, "Night Sorrow, isn't this a little too precious?" The Golden Dragon King looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He knew that this Emperor Spirit Stone was equivalent to hundreds of Emperor Spirit Stones. It couldn't be exchanged. It was like how a piece of top-grade Saint Spirit Stone could be exchanged for 100 Saint Spirit Stones, but 100 Saint Spirit Stones couldn't be exchanged for a piece of top-grade Saint Spirit Stone. "Play with it. Don't you dragons like shiny things? This is not bad." Night Sorrow smiled. The Golden Dragon King smiled at Night Sorrow and didn't say anything more. Night Sorrow changed the array around the Heaven Wasteland Tower and felt a lot more at ease. In the past, the array's power could injure Enchanting. Now, the array's power had at least doubled. If Enchanting attacked, not only was he confident that he could defend Heaven Wasteland City, he could also injure Enchanting. Night Sorrow, back in Jean Capital, that move of yours was very domineering. What was it called? The Golden Dragon King put away the Emperor Spirit Stone and asked. The reincarnation spear technique of the sky drawing spear technique isn't that powerful. It was executed with the help of the Heaven Wasteland Tower. Back then, I could only use that level of attack 2 to 3 times. I only dared to use it when I found out that Martial Uncle was here. Night Sorrow said. He knew that he wasn't strong enough. If he was stronger, then the power of the Heaven Wasteland Tower's attack and suppression would be much stronger. Then Enchanting wouldn't be able to leave so easily. He would be suppressed and wouldn't be able to escape once he entered Heaven Wasteland City. It's powerful enough. That means that Enchanting's cultivation is at the Soul Unification realm. He's indeed strong. If he was at the 7th Emperor Tribulation and 8th Emperor Tribulation, he wouldn't be able to escape. The Golden Dragon King said. The 9th Emperor Tribulation and the Soul Unification realm is the strongest realm we know of. It's not that easy to suppress. Night Sorrow shook his head. Some things were true. Enchanting's strength was undeniable. Q plus K plus K. Let's go. The 9th Emperor Tribulation and the Soul Unification realm are the strongest realms below the God-destroying tribulation. A few of them will appear in every reincarnation cycle. Being able to injure Enchanting is already a great achievement. I wonder how the battle between King Yawu and Enchanting is going. However, if Enchanting only runs away and doesn't fight, it will be very difficult to kill him. After all, there's no difference between the two realms, the Golden Dragon King said. He was talking about a common phenomenon among cultivators. In a situation where the difference in combat strength wasn't too big, it was easy to defeat and run away. However, it was difficult to kill. In order to kill, one must have the ability to suppress the opponent. King Yewu was a giant of the 100 clans of the celestial realm. However, Enchanting was also one of the 3 greatest heavens of the demon-winged clan. His combat strength was obvious to all. Therefore, the Golden Dragon King was very worried about the battle between King Yewu and Enchanting. I've thought about this before. The City Lord has also thought about it. That's why we're rushing over. What I'm worried about now is that Enchanting must have a backup plan. He won't let the City Lord and my Uncle Master form a joint attack, Knight Sorrow said. Enchanting only has 2 choices. One is to run back to the Demon Imperial City. The other is that his speed is much faster than King Yewu's and he can shake King Yewu off. Then, he can hide. However, this should be very difficult, right? The Golden Dragon King said. Chapter 2183. Enchanting didn't want to fight, so he and King Yewu were in a chase. Enchanting and King Yewu were old rivals. The 2 of them had fought more than once. Both sides knew that Enchanting wasn't a match for King Yewu in the past. Now, there was still a difference between Enchanting's 2 bodies and King Yewu's 3 bodies. There were still advantages and disadvantages. In addition, Enchanting was already injured, and his combat power was reduced. He was already at a disadvantage before the fight even started. What annoyed Enchanting the most was that the reincarnation energy that Knight Sorrow left in his body was still hurting him. In the Demon Wing clan, there were only 2 outstanding cultivators with the supreme attribute. Only 2 of them had cultivated the taboo attribute. One was Tianji, and the other was him. He cultivated the beginning attribute, which was a mid-level one. Therefore, he couldn't suppress the high-level reincarnation energy that Knight Sorrow left in his body. Enchanting, this is your mistake. How long can you run? You dare to run into the celestial realm. You are courting death. King Yewu was clear about Enchanting's situation. He knew that as long as he didn't give Enchanting time to recover, Enchanting would be the first to collapse. High-level cultivators had deep cultivation, and their bodies contained a lot of energy. However, flying at high speed consumed a lot of energy. In addition, after Enchanting was injured, his unstable aura couldn't be hidden from King Yewu. King Yewu also saw Knight Sorrow's sky-drawing spear art attack injuring Enchanting. Enchanting didn't reply. He naturally knew that this was a crisis for him. Knight Sorrow's reincarnation energy was destroying his body. He had to use energy to suppress it. Under such circumstances, flying at full speed consumed more energy than King Yewu. He would be the first to collapse. In addition, this was the Celestial Realm's territory. Soon, Tran Hung and the Grand Elder would join forces with King Yewu to kill him. In war, personal pride and honor were secondary. Everything was for the sake of winning the war. The higher-ups of the Celestial Realm and the Demon-Winged clan all had this awareness. After thinking for a while, Enchanting knew that he only had 2 choices. One was to get rid of King Yewu, find a place to recover, and then plan again. The other was to go back. Even if he had to pay a high price, he had to rush back to Infinite Wasteland and the Demon Imperial City. Only then would he be safe. Thinking of this, Enchanting had a headache. Neither of these 2 paths was easy to take. It was unrealistic for him to shake off King Yewu. He and King Yewu were currently flying at full speed, and their speeds were almost the same. Should he burn his essence blood? If he did that, King Yewu would not hesitate either. The situation would become a battle of attrition where both sides would suffer. As for returning to Infinite Wasteland, he would have to take the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and walk through the city. Then, he would not be able to ignore the city's defensive array and would have to pay a price. If he rushed from the edge of Infinite Wasteland to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, then he would have to bear the attack of the Nirvana tide. On the Nirvana ocean, the energy of heaven and earth and the Nirvana ocean would fuse together, and the resulting damage would be terrifying. He would also have to pay a price. While thinking, Enchanting also knew that he did not have much time left. Tran Hung and the Grand Elder were most likely already on their way to intercept him. After thinking for a while, Enchanting felt that it was not safe to stay in the celestial realm. The best way was to return to the Demon Imperial City. He could not give the 100 races of the celestial realm the chance to surround and kill him. Looking up, Enchanting realized that he was in an inland ocean. At this moment, a soul crystal on Night Sorrow's body cracked, and King Yawu's soul incarnation appeared. Night Sorrow, that Enchanting ran to Star Moon Lake and will arrive at Star Moon City soon. Get someone to activate the defensive array. Uncle is worried that he is going for Star Moon City, King Yawu said to Night Sorrow. After speaking, King Yawu's soul incarnation dissipated. Night Sorrow's face turned cold. He did not expect King Yawu and Enchanting to run so fast. His soul incarnation entered the teleportation array and started the teleportation. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow's 9-domain doppelganger found Enchanting. What do I need to do? Enchanting walked out of the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pavilion. I will make it short. Enchanting is now fighting with King Yawu. You do not need to care about this. However, the gateway to our 9-domain world cannot be broken. Star Moon City is the gateway to the 9-domain world. You need to help me guard it, Night Sorrow explained the situation to Enchanting. I know that Star Moon City is the gateway to the 9-domain world. Protecting the 9-domain world is also my responsibility. However, I did not expect to face something so soon. I will go now. Enchanting let out a sigh. She knew that Night Sorrow's request was reasonable. Even if he did not ask for it, she knew that she would have to do something. I know that you are in a difficult position. You just need to protect Star Moon City from being attacked. That way, you will feel better. Night Sorrow nodded. AI more arcane new, most /s fast, Enchanting nodded and entered the teleportation array. At this moment, Enchanting and King Yawu were still chasing after each other. They were getting closer and closer to Star Moon City. The 9-domain world and the celestial realm were very close. The teleportation array was also very fast. When Enchanting arrived at Star Moon City, she activated the defensive array and stood in the air above the city. At this moment, Enchanting was a little emotional. The world was unpredictable. During this period of time, she had schemed to enter the 9-domain world. Now, she was fighting for the 9-domain world. She was already a part of the 9-domain world. Enchanting, who was flying, naturally sensed Enchanting above Star Moon City. His heart was in turmoil. Enchanting. Although Enchanting's appearance had changed, her soul aura was still there. Tianji. Enchanting shouted. Enchanting, I don't want to fight with you. Retreat. Leave Star Moon City and I will pretend that you were never here. Enchanting's eyes were calm. When she saw the members of the demon-winged clan, she was emotional. However, her determination did not waver. What? Enchanting was stunned. He did not expect Enchanting to say something like this. Moreover, she said it while being emotionally stable. I don't care about the war between the demon-winged clan and the celestial realm. This is Star Moon City. No matter who it is, as long as they dare to attack Star Moon City, I will kill them. Enchanting saw that Enchanting was still charging in a straight line. She extended the long sword in her left hand to her chest. She was ready to attack at any time. Enchanting was confused when he saw Enchanting's shining longsword. However, He knew that Mo Tianji was already filled with battle intent and killing intent. If he continued to charge forward, he would be met with an attack. Mo Zhantian could also feel the danger. Mo Tianji's cultivation level was not as high as his, but her combat ability was strong. She could hurt him. Mo Zhantian controlled his body and drew an arc. He went around Star Moon City. He did not dare to challenge Mo Tianji's words. Tianji, why? Mo Zhantian asked loudly. Chapter 2184. Mo Tianji didn't even look at the battle between King Yewu and Mo Zhantian because she didn't care. She didn't care who had the upper hand. It wouldn't affect her life. In her opinion, the nine-domain world was unbreakable. Whether Night Sorrow could survive the god-destroying tribulation or not, the nine-domain world would be stable in this era. She could live a stable life. Mo Tianji's state of mind was peaceful, but Mo Zhantian couldn't. Even though he had lived for more than 9 eras and had a rock-solid state of mind, he couldn't. Mo Tianji's sudden appearance had a huge impact on him. When Mo Tianji's statue in the Demon Imperial City Sacrificial Tower broke, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian determined that Mo Tianji had died. But now, Mo Tianji appeared with the cultivation of the tribulation of 9 emperors. Most importantly, Mo Tianji's aura was very stable. It was completely different from when she was severely injured. In addition, Mo Zhantian discovered that Mo Tianji's life origin was complete, but it was no longer the origin of Heaven Wasteland domain. Thinking of this, Mo Zhantian understood Mo Tianji's words. Mo Tianji's life origin had changed. If she was reborn, then something big must have happened. Mo Tianji had severed her karma with the past. Thinking of this, Mo Zhantian felt helpless. Mo Tianji had done enough for Moe. To reach this point, it was his and Mo Yutian's fault. King Yewu, you guys are despicable. Mo Zhantian cursed angrily. He was very angry now. What do you know? You call us despicable. You're not 1 or 2 years old. Don't you know to speak the truth? What makes you think you can jump to conclusions? King Yewu snorted at Mo Zhantian's words. If it weren't for your despicable methods, would Mo Tianji have become like this? Mo Zhantian roared. What a joke. This is a war between races. It's a war to the death. What's wrong with using some methods? Didn't you also arrange spies? But you didn't do it properly. King Yewu retorted. After King Yewu said this, Mo Zhantian didn't say anything. He couldn't refute King Yewu's words. The chase continued. At this moment, not only was Mo Zhantian's body injured, his spirit had also suffered a severe blow. However, Mo Zhantian's willpower was firm. At this moment, he was still flying at full speed. His route was the route back to the Tianhuang city. Mo Zhantian had already made up his mind. He wanted to go back and reorganize the battle. King Yewu continued his pursuit. He wasn't in a hurry because Mo Zhantian wouldn't be able to escape. He had already considered both of Mo Zhantian's escape routes. He wasn't afraid of either one. After returning to Star Moon City, Mo Tianji handed a soul crystal to Qing Emperor. If this place is attacked, crush it. I will rush over immediately. Qing Emperor nodded. He didn't know who Mo Tianji was, but he knew that she was an incredible expert. Seeing Mo Tianji return to the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow's 9-domain clone handed Mo Tianji a jar of wine. You don't have to worry. It's nothing. Some things have to be faced sooner or later. It's just that it's a little early. I'm fine. Mo Tianji looked at Night Sorrow and said. Who can be heartless? I can understand your feelings. Night Sorrow shook his head. He could understand Mo Tianji's feelings. I left a soul crystal for your master, Qing Emperor. You don't have to worry about Star Moon City. After Mo Zhantian understands my intentions and attitude, he won't come to Star Moon City to seek trouble. Mo Tianji said. Then you go and rest. The future is beautiful and it's also our own. I will support you in whatever way you want to live. For example, if you want to get married, I will give you the grandest wedding. It won't be any worse than my sister's wedding. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. When you talk nonsense, you don't look like a realm lord at all. I know you are busy. Go. Let's drink tea together when you have time. Mo Tianji said and entered the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pavilion. It's not easy. It's been hard on her. Knight Sorrow turned his head and looked at Tai Shu Yen who was walking to his side. After sighing, he also entered the heaven-sealing Great Hall. At this time, Knight Sorrow's battle clone also arrived at Star Moon City. After checking, he was relieved that Star Moon City wasn't attacked. As for the battle between King Yewu and Mo Zhantian, he couldn't participate. This was because his cultivation was too low. He couldn't keep up with the speed and rhythm. Mo Zhantian felt that his situation wasn't good. While flying at full speed, he couldn't suppress the reincarnation energy that Knight Sorrow had injected into his body. He had already consumed 30% of his energy, while King Yewu had only consumed less than 20%. In order to prevent his route from being calculated, Mo Zhantian kept changing his flight path. However, his final destination was Heaven Desolate City. Tran Hung and King Yewu would occasionally use the Soul Crystal imprint to contact each other. However, Mo Zhantian kept changing his flight path. Tran Hung's interception also became a hindrance to him. As time passed, Mo Zhantian was getting closer and closer to Heaven Desolate City. Mo Zhantian knew that the next obstacle was here. If he could break through Heaven Desolate City, he would be fine. If he couldn't, then the problem would be big. Mo Tianji had made a mistake, which led to many mistakes. King Yewu didn't know Tran Hung's location. The last location that she had informed him was far from their current location. That was also the last soul crystal that he had left with Tran Hung. He had no choice but to contact the Grand Guardian of Divine Capital, Shiryu. Knight Sorrow stayed at the top of Heaven Desolate Tower. He used his soul force to search for loopholes in the formation. At this time, Shiryu arrived at Heaven Desolate City and found Knight Sorrow. Young City Lord, the City Lord has contacted me. He asked me to inform you that Mo Zhantian's destination is Heaven Desolate City. He wants you to see if you can contact the City Lord and the Grand Elder. Uncle Shiryu, please help me run to Reincarnation Island and inform the Grand Elder. I can't contact them now, Knight Sorrow said. Shiryu bowed and left. He knew that this was a big matter. It was a big matter for the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. Knight Sorrow rang the bronze bell on the martial arts field and gave the order to prepare for battle. If Mo Zhantian wanted to return to Heaven Desolate and Devil Imperial City, he had to pass through the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. After the bronze bell was rung, the leaders of the various divine beast races came to Heaven Desolate Tower. The bronze bell was a battle order. Young City Lord, what's the situation now? Huang Ling asked. Mo Zhantian is being chased by my martial uncle and has nowhere to run. He might be charging towards Heaven Desolate now. If he wants to return to Devil Imperial City, we have to stop him, Knight Sorrow said. That bastard, he still dares to come back. Knight Sorrow, give the order. Let's see what's the best way to fight, Heavenly Astral Monarch said. Forever Winky Face. Long Free E look at L little Y says. Chapter 2185. After hearing Knight Sorrow's order, the Golden Dragon King and the others left and went to the 4 walls of the city to defend. Mo Zhantian's speed was very fast. If they couldn't intercept him in time, he would rush out of the city. Knight Sorrow knew about Enchanting and King Yawu's speed. It would take a long time to travel from the heavenly desolate city to the ethereal dynasty's territory. King Yawu and Enchanting had flown back and forth in more than a day. Therefore, Knight Sorrow knew that he couldn't be careless at all. If he was careless, Enchanting would escape. Knight Sorrow's battle clone teleported towards the heavenly desolate city. The Star Moon City was safe, and the unstable area was the heavenly desolate city. When the heavenly desolate city appeared in the range of his soul power, the corner of Enchanting's eyes twitched. He realized that the atmosphere above the city had changed. It was filled with a murderous aura. It was much more intense than when he first arrived, giving him a strong sense of crisis. Well done, King Yawu praised. Since Enchanting could detect the situation in the heavenly desolate city, it was naturally within the range of King Yawu's detection. King Yawu also knew that Tran Hung and the Grand Elder were not in the city. The changes in the heavenly desolate city's formation were naturally caused by Knight Sorrow. On the contrary, King Yawu was excited. Enchanting was in a dilemma. It would be difficult for him to pass through the heavenly desolate city because the formation could slow down his speed. The attacks could also threaten his life. When he first arrived, the formation's energy fluctuation was only half of what it was now. It was enough to injure him. Now that the formation's power had doubled, it wouldn't be a problem to severely injure him. At this time, even the slightest unfavorable factor could bring about unpredictable consequences. Knight Sorrow, who was standing on the heavenly desolate tower, also thought of this problem. Enchanting wouldn't enter the city after seeing the changes in the heavenly desolate city's formation. It was most likely that he would go outside the influence of the formation. With the help of the heavenly desolate city's formation, Knight Sorrow rose into the sky and flew towards the world suppression gate of the heavenly desolate city. The heavenly desolate city was located on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. There were only two big city gates. One was the World Suppression City Gate facing the Celestial Realm. And the other one was Nirvana City Gate facing the World Suppression Gate. Yi Shang was going to intercept them at the city gates. As for the guards inside the city, his avatar was on the way. He was racing against time. Enchanting's clone's sword's heart. At this moment, Enchanting was still in the form of the heart sword. It was a long sword that shone brightly between heaven and earth, piercing through space as it flew. Its flames clones Shantian to the heavenly desolate cities to the heavens. Clear Sky Pagoda's protection. Knight Sorrow activated the Clear Sky Pagoda and merged it with his body. He had to intercept Enchanting even if he was seriously injured. Knight Sorrow didn't think that would happen. His body was strong and full of Daoist rhymes. It wasn't something that could be destroyed in a few moves. As for soul attacks, Knight Sorrow wasn't afraid. He had the 9-domain origin beads in his spirit sea. Not every attack could break through it. He extended his right arm and pointed the Samsara halberd at the sky while gathering energy. The heavenly desolate city was not near the heavenly desolate tower. Although the heavenly desolate city's defense was strong, its attack power was somewhat lacking. After detecting Knight Sorrow's figure, Enchanting had the urge to eat Knight Sorrow. The Devil Wing clan was passive, and he was passive. Everything was because of Knight Sorrow's appearance. Mo Tianji was now willing to go against him for Xingyue City because of Knight Sorrow. Suppress. Knight Sorrow Samsara halberd pressed down. The energy in the sky descended and bound towards Enchanting. Break! Enchanting roared. The heart sword collided with the energy controlled by Knight Sorrow. During the collision, a grain of gravel flew out. That was one of Enchanting's spatial treasures. Inside it were the younger generation of the Devil Wing clan. Enchanting knew that his plan had failed. He couldn't establish himself in the celestial realm. However, he still wanted to leave behind a spark. He wanted to leave his men in the celestial realm. King Yawu and Knight Sorrow didn't notice this. After the collision, it was normal for the gravel on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge to fly. Mo Zhantian's divine soul unity realm attack power was too tyrannical. Knight Sorrow's spatial fetter suppression was directly broken. Mo Zhantian's speed didn't decrease as he continued flying. Sky pulling spear art. Knight Sorrow naturally wouldn't let Mo Zhantian fly at such a high speed. He used his ultimate move again. Outside the Heavenly Desolate City, the power of the defense array of the Heavenly Desolate City under Yi Shang's control was reduced. The sky drawing spear technique this time was only half as powerful as last time. However, the sky pulling spear art in such a state was already very terrifying. Countless spear lights pierced towards Mo Zhantian's heart sword. Spatial cracks had already formed. Blood essence burn. At the crucial moment, Mo Zhantian burned his blood essence to increase his speed and defense. Following the explosion, Mo Zhantian's heart sword was hit by the sky-pulling spear light controlled by Knight Sorrow. The long sword trembled and Mo Zhantian groaned. Mo Zhantian was once again injured by the sky-pulling spear art. Under this situation, Mo Zhantian also knew that he couldn't enter the Heaven Desolate City. He wasn't in the Heaven Desolate City and wasn't within the range of the Heaven Desolate Pagoda. Knight Sorrow's control of the array had already reached such a level. If he entered the city, the situation would be even worse. After burning his blood essence, Mo Zhantian controlled the heart sword that was transformed from his body. He drew an arc and flew away from the city gate and the city wall. He wanted to prevent Knight Sorrow from attacking him with the energy of the Heaven Desolate Pagoda. At this moment, King Yawu was also burning his blood essence to chase after Mo Zhantian. This was also a crucial moment. He couldn't let Mo Zhantian go back after taking a stroll in the celestial realm. Within the array, Knight Sorrow had a great advantage. He flew along the city wall and kept up with Mo Zhantian's speed. However, he didn't have much control over the Heaven Desolate City's array. Mo Zhantian burned his blood essence to increase his speed and defense. He endured the impact of the Nirvana storm as he flew. Mo Zhantian knew that flying in the Nirvana storm consumed a lot of his energy. It was the same for King Yawu. The terrain didn't help either of them. Knight Sorrow was also in a dilemma. Under such circumstances, he couldn't help King Yawu. The Heaven Desolate City's offensive array had lost its effect. However, Knight Sorrow and Mo Zhantian had different thoughts. After taking a deep breath, Knight Sorrow controlled the energy of the Heaven Desolate City's array to stir up the Nirvana storm. What he did would cause the same amount of damage to Mo Zhantian and King Yawu. However, Knight Sorrow knew that it was the right thing to do because Tran Hung and the Grand Elder would rush back. The Heaven Desolate City had fresh troops. He only needed to suppress Mo Zhantian's speed. Although King Yawu was under pressure, he knew that Knight Sorrow's thought process was correct. At this moment, he needed to exhaust Mo Zhantian. He had to make sure that Mo Zhantian couldn't bear it and couldn't increase his speed. Now, he could control the burning of his blood essence. You bunch of despicable people. Mo Zhantian cursed. He knew better than anyone that the situation was critical. I want to fight you fair and square. Do you want to fight me? If you do, I'll give you a chance. King Yawu replied to Mo Zhantian. Chapter 2186. Mo Zhantian wanted to curse. How could he fight now? Normally, he was not a match for King Yawu. Now, it was even more impossible. Fighting one-on-one would be courting death. No one said anything. King Yawu's words had shut Mo Zhantian's mouth. He could not refute. If you don't dare to fight one-on-one, then what else is there to say? Mo Zhantian didn't reply, he just kept running. Yi Shang was controlling the energy of the formation of Tianhuang City to stir up the storm, but he was still fast. He was trying to save his own life. If he didn't hurry, he would be in danger of dying. At this moment, the distance between him and King Yewu was gradually closing. King Yewu was stronger than him, so he could burn his essence blood faster than Mo Zhantian without damaging his life foundation. Mo Zhantian gritted his teeth and increased the intensity of his blood essence burning. He had to return to Infinite Wasteland, to the Demon Imperial City. Mo Zhantian accelerated again. King Yewu's expression changed. If he increased the intensity of his blood essence burning, it would damage his life foundation. Mo Zhantian, you dare to burn your blood essence without caring about the consequences. Then I, King Yewu, am not afraid of you. Come. King Yewu's body suddenly accelerated. The protective energy flame was filled with blood light. He was also burning his blood essence without caring about the consequences. Super Chap, CHJ, kill. Night Sorrow was furious. He naturally knew what was going on. Both Mo Zhantian and King Yewu were burning their blood essence without caring about the consequences. This would have a great impact on the future. It would affect the chances of passing the God-destroying tribulation. Night Sorrow was furious. The Haotian pagoda left his body and floated in the air. He then gathered the energy of heaven and earth and blasted it towards Mo Zhantian. It was not a simple attack. It was an attack that attracted the energy of heaven and earth using the Heaven Attraction spell. Night Sorrow, you deserve to die. Sky Demon Sword Chi. Mo Zhantian roared. Then, countless sword chi burst out from his body. The sword chi was divided into two parts. One part blasted towards the Haotian pagoda while the other part blasted towards Night Sorrow. Spacetime Realm, Reincarnation True Dragon Spell. Night Sorrow executed his ultimate defensive technique, Spacetime Realm, and shuttled through the alternate space, dodging Mo Zhantian's ultimate technique, Sky Demon Sword Chi. Next, he brandished his Samsara halberd and executed the true reincarnation dragon art. Because there was no Nirvana storm on the walls of Heavenly Wasteland, coupled with the high energy affinity within the array formation, Night Sorrow had been running in front of Mo Zhantian to disrupt him. Now, he was facing him head-on. Go to hell. Mo Zhan's Heavenly Heart sword disintegrated as he attacked Night Sorrow's Heavenly Samsara halberd. Bang! With a muffled sound, Yi Shang was sent flying. Mo Zhantian's soul and soul as one cultivation base coupled with the burning of his blood essence made his attack power far surpass his imagination. A single sword strike was enough to send Yi Shang flying and injure him. Yi Shang's arm muscles, veins, and internal organs were all severely impacted. However, Mo Zhantian, who had clashed head-on with Night Sorrow, didn't have it easy either. Night Sorrow's Samsara energy was tyrannical. In addition to the Samsara halberd's destruction attribute, the tip of Mo Zhantian's longsword was blasted into powder. This caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. His longsword was his life weapon. There was no time to chase after Night Sorrow. Mo Zhantian continued to fly at high speed. He had paused for a moment, and King Yewu had closed the distance between them. Now, King Yewu was already in attack range. King Yewu's spear light was flying towards him. Night Sorrow was sent flying by the attack, and he retreated to the top of the Tianhuang city's walls. Then, he sped up again, and after overtaking Mo Zhantian, he pounced on Mo Zhantian. Night Sorrow wanted to suppress Mo Zhantian's speed with all his strength. After being sent flying again, Night Sorrow spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood. His robe and right arm were covered in blood. His right arm's flesh and bones were all shattered. However, because of Night Sorrow's 2 interceptions, Enchanting's speed had decreased. King Yawu had caught up with him, and the two began to fight while flying. Night Sorrow, how are you? Huang Ling and Wu Lingfei appeared. Wu Lingfei reached out to support Night Sorrow. Aunt Fei is here. I'm fine. It's just some minor injuries. Night Sorrow shook his head and continued flying, maintaining a distance from the battle. At this moment, there was nothing he could do. Enchanting controlled the battle to distance himself from the Tianhuang city's walls in order to prevent others from interfering. While resisting King Yawu's attacks, he continued flying forward. The Nirvana ocean outside the Tianhuang city was tumbling with energy. It was a battle between 2 tribulation of 9 emperors, and both of them had reached the level of soul unification. The spectators on the city walls could not join the battle, including the leaders of the divine beasts. They were all mid-level tribulation emperors, and they did not have any forbidden element. Entering the Nirvana storm was just asking for trouble. A group of spectators also moved with the battle. In the battle, King Yawu kept causing damage to Enchanting, but he could not control Enchanting's movements. Enchanting's main purpose was to retreat, whether attacking or defending. King Yawu could not do anything about it. Every time they exchanged a blow, Enchanting would run away. If he did not use his strength, he could not cause any damage. If this continues, it will be difficult to kill him. Wu Lingfei, who was standing beside Night Sorrow, said. A high-level tribulation emperor cultivator's body and soul have reached a level that ordinary cultivators cannot understand. Under normal circumstances, it is impossible to kill him, Huang Ling said to her daughter. Night Sorrow was also anxious because if Tran Hung and the Grand Elder did not come back, Enchanting would rush out of the Tianhuang city. The battle was moving, and they were about to reach the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Once they reached the bridge, the Nirvana storm would be weaker, and King Yawu and Enchanting's battle group would move faster. King Yawu, you want to kill me? You are not qualified. Enchanting was furious. He was a peerless expert, and he had never been so embarrassed in front of others. Let's not talk about whether I can kill you or not. I can make you lose half of your life. King Yawu used his divine spear to attack Enchanting. So what if you hurt me? You also burned your blood essence. Do you still think you can pass the god-destroying tribulation? Enchanting's face was filled with ruthlessness. He had originally wanted King Yawu to make a difficult choice, whether he would hurt himself just to attack him. However, he had underestimated King Yawu's determination to fight for the 100 clans of the Heaven World. King Yawu had already put his personal matters aside. Enchanting, you think too much. Uncle, I have the Heavenly Tao Flower. You just need to control the extent of your injuries. Night Sorrow shouted. Ha! Enchanting, did you hear that? This is fate. I, King Yawu, am blessed by the Heavenly Tao. You should think about yourself. King Yawu laughed after hearing Night Sorrow's words. What was the Heavenly Tao Flower? It was the best treasure to heal the body. It was a treasure of the Heavenly Tao that appeared when the world was first formed. King Yawu knew what the Heavenly Tao Flower represented, and so did Enchanting. His expression changed immediately. The existence of the Heavenly Tao Flower made him and King Yawu not on the same line. King Yawu's confidence was not something he could compare with. Night Sorrow, remember this. Don't give us, the Demon Wings clan, a chance. As long as there is a chance, we will tear you into pieces. King Yawu, today's humiliation will be paid back in double. Enchanting turned his head and looked at Night Sorrow, who was above the heavenly desolate city, and shouted. Chapter 2187. So what if I know you're here? Heavenly Demon Thousand Illusion Body, Soul Sacrifice. Enchanting roared, and a milky white light appeared on his body. Then, his body shook, and thousands of figures appeared. They were all extremely fast. They landed on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and rushed towards Tianhuang. King Yawu landed on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, but neither he nor the Grand Elder pursued him. I didn't expect that guy to run away even after using all kinds of methods. King Yawu sighed. Knight Sorrow did not say anything. He knew that there must be a reason why King Yawu and the Grand Elder did not pursue him. Seeing that the Divine Beasts clan and the other elders were confused, the Grand Elder explained the situation. Heavenly Demon Thousand Illusion Body was a unique technique of the Demon Wing clan. It could be used by Emperor Tribulation cultivators, but it would consume their blood and chi. As for soul sacrifice, it was a forbidden technique in the Demon Wing clan. There were two kinds of soul sacrifice. The first kind was performed by ordinary experts of the Demon Wing clan, who burned their soul to increase their combat strength. The second kind was performed by experts of the Demon Wing clan who had a certain level of attainment and could collect the power of faith. What Enchanting performed was the soul sacrifice that burned the power of faith. It's a pity that we couldn't kill him. Sigh. The Golden Dragon King said somewhat helplessly. Even Knight Sorrow had contributed a lot in this battle. As a senior, there were some things that he couldn't do, so he wasn't very interested. The effect this time is already very good. Enchanting's body and soul were both injured. He won't be able to do anything in a short period of time. Even if he recovers, his strength will not increase, King Yawu said. Uncle, here are 2 petals of the Heavenly Path flower. If it's not enough, I have a few more. Knight Sorrow took out a jade bottle and handed the 2 petals to King Yawu. Very well, I won't stand on ceremony. With these 2 petals of the Heavenly Path flower, you won't be injured this time. Only Enchanting is unlucky. King Yawu took the flower and said. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and said, there are some things that I didn't think of. If we didn't activate the formation of the Heavenly Desolate City first and activated it after he rushed in, he might not be able to escape. Young City Lord, you think too much. You've changed the formation of the Heavenly Desolate City and increased its power. Young City Lord, if you don't change the array won't be able to trap him even if he rushes in. Besides, Enchanting knows how strong the defense of the Tianhuang city is, so he doesn't dare to attack easily. It's really shocking, Huang Ling said. As a senior, she really didn't want to see Knight Sorrow under too much pressure. As they chatted, they returned to the hall on the first floor of the Heaven Wasteland Tower, which was also the City Lord's residence. Knight Sorrow, I'll return to Reincarnation Island first. The Demon-Winged clan didn't succeed in Tianhuang City. I hope they don't have any other plans on Reincarnation Island. Although the possibility is low, we still have to be careful for a while. The Grand Elder said. He said to wait for a while because the energy fluctuations caused by the appearance of Reincarnation Island had completely calmed down. At that time, the Demon-Winged clan wouldn't be able to land on the island even if they wanted to. Grand Elder, don't worry. I'll do my best for Tianhuang City. Knight Sorrow nodded to the Grand Elder. Pu Luo, did you search the body of Celestial Cliffs carefully? Did you find a second spatial treasure? After sending off the Grand Elder, Knight Sorrow sat down again and asked Pu Luo. His body was destroyed by the Dao fire, and everything turned into ashes. There shouldn't be any flaws. However, could Enchanting have left some hidden tricks behind after running around? Pu Luo asked another question after explaining the situation of Celestial Cliffs. Uncle Master has been following him, so there shouldn't be a big problem. However, no one can prevent him from throwing out a spatial treasure during a battle, Knight Sorrow said. Yes, the distance between us was relatively large at the beginning. That guy didn't give me a chance to get close to him. We ran around and only fought when we reached Tianhuang City. King Yawu nodded. It's the last era. The cultivators of the 100 clans of the celestial realm need something to do. They also need to have a sense of crisis. Strictly investigate the foreign races and prepare for war. Those who make contributions will be given priority to enter the new supreme world, Knight Sorrow said to the elders of the Council of Elders. The elders of the Council of Elders and the clan leaders of the Divine Beast clan nodded. They had seen Knight Sorrow's vigor and strength from this incident. If they weren't high-level Emperor Tribulation cultivators, they wouldn't have dared to fight Enchanting on the Nirvana Ocean. Yawu, are you okay? You don't look too good. Tran Hung entered the hall. Knight Sorrow and the others stood up and greeted him. Tran Hung sat down and apologized for not arriving in time. After listening to King Yawu, Tran Hung nodded. Enchanting's soul sacrifice burned the power of faith. Although it didn't cause any damage to his soul, it was equivalent to destroying his foundation. In the Demon-Winged clan, the power of faith is as important as the power of merit. We still need to strengthen the transmission of information, King Yawu said. Find someone trustworthy to form a team. The original body and the doppelganger will be stationed in the important places of the 100 clans of the celestial realm. This way, the transmission of information will be more convenient. After listening to King Yawu, Knight Sorrow had an idea. City Lord, King Yawu, and young City Lord don't need to worry about this. I will arrange it. Qin Chinjia took the initiative to accept the task. Thank you, Elder Qin. Golden Dragon King, Blood Kirin King, King Ling, Brother Green Rock, you all should stay in Tianhuang City for the time being. Everyone needs to do something during these special times. Knight Sorrow can take charge alone, but he also needs the support of everyone and the other clans. Tran Hung looked at the several Divine Beast clan leaders and said. Golden Dragon King and the others nodded. They also understood that these were special times. They couldn't be as lazy as before. Ancestor Green Rock stood up and bowed to everyone. This matter was caused by the unfilial descendants of the Green Rock clan. I apologize to everyone here. Brother Green Rock, you don't need to do this. We can sit here because we have the 100 clans of the celestial realm in our hearts. It's normal for a black sheep to appear. Just do your best to avoid it. Tran Hung shook his head at Ancestor Green Rock. Ancestor Green Rock cupped his hands to everyone again before sitting down. Yawu, you should go back to Yawu Mountain to heal. It's important to stay in peak condition. Also, I have good news. I have been working hard to clean up the outer realms around the celestial realm. Everyone knows this. Some time ago, I made a discovery. It was a big discovery. I found the Hong Meng tree recorded in the ancient records. Tran Hung said. After Tran Hung finished speaking, no one understood. TB Starter Plus, it's not strange that you don't understand. You should know Yawu, right? Tran Hung looked at King Yawu beside him. City Lord, are you talking about the Hong Meng tree known as the World Tree? King Yawu's eyes were full of shock. Chapter 2188. I don't quite understand what you mean, City Lord, the Heavenly Astral King said. The World Tree contains pure world origin. It should be said that she can absorb the energy in the void turbulence and transform it into world origin power. The World Tree I found was not formed for a long time and could not produce enough world origin power for the celestial realm. However, after the celestial realm enters the secondary supreme world, it will only be destroyed after thousands of reincarnations. This time is enough for the World Tree to grow. When the World Tree grows, it will have no problem maintaining the celestial realm from destruction. The problem is that I can't get close to her, so I want to see if anyone has any good ideas. Tran Hung pointed out the key problem. Can't get close to her. King Yewu looked at Tran Hung in confusion. Tran Hung nodded and explained the key problem he encountered. The world tree was very defensive. When outsiders approached, she controlled the world origin power to continuously create spatial worlds. No matter how hard Tran Hung tried to attack, he was outside the layers of worlds. He could not break it by force, as that would hurt the world tree. In addition, he did not know if he could succeed. The spiritual intelligence of the world tree is very strong, King Yewu said. It is similar to other creatures. If it is in its infancy, then its spiritual intelligence is not very high. It is very cautious, so it will not let other creatures get close to it. The world tree has just been formed, and it has the temperament of a child. If we want to make use of it, we have two choices. One is to let a cultivator with high merit go, and the other is to let a cultivator with high spirituality approach it. We will start from both the merit and the spirituality, Tran Hung said. Although the celestial realm will be destroyed after thousands of reincarnations, and it will be a long time, we are predecessors. No matter what, we have to accumulate something for the future generations. I will not be stingy with anything you need from me, Night Sorrow said. That's enough. We'll think of a way to find a few more candidates with sufficient spirituality. When the time comes, we'll go together. Who will be in charge of the selection? Chen Huang looked at the group of people in the hall and asked. After pondering for a moment, Huang Ling stood up. I'll handle this matter. Our clan's Yunling bead can be used to identify cultivators with high spirituality. Okay, the direction is for women. Women are born with a strong maternal instinct, so they have an advantage over men. Then this matter is settled. Everyone, do what you need to do. Tran Hung announced the end of the meeting. After Night Sorrow returned to the mansion, Tran Hung woke up not long after. Have a seat, Castellan. Night Sorrow invited Tran Hung to sit down and then made a pot of tea. Tran Hung looked at Night Sorrow's blood-stained battle robe and asked, You don't have to be so courteous. Are your injuries okay? I'm fine. I'll enter the space treasure later and speed up the healing process. Night Sorrow looked at his torn robe and said. That's great. This is a great victory. The real master of the Demon Wing clan is the Three Great Heavens, followed by the 100 Kings tribe's chief. The problem of Mo Tianji has been solved. Mo Zhantian has been seriously injured. The only one left is Mo Yutian. He probably won't be able to do much in a short time. You should focus on your cultivation. Also, Tianhuang City still needs you to take charge, Tran Hung said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, I will. Don't worry, Castellan. Night Sorrow nodded. There are still some things that I haven't told others, mainly because I'm afraid of causing a commotion. I only told your martial uncle. This time I went out, I made a big discovery and also solved a mystery in my heart. In fact, this is also the reason why I've been traveling outside the celestial realm and exploring the outer realms. In our knowledge of history, the Heaven Wasteland domain is the furthest we know of. But what about before the Heaven Wasteland domain? Before the Heaven Wasteland domain, there were still supreme worlds. After the supreme worlds were destroyed, did everything turn into nothingness? I've always thought that wasn't the case. Tran Hung slowly told Night Sorrow some of his thoughts. Tran Hung had seen the destruction of a world. After the destruction of a world, it would become a small space that would drift along with the energy of the void. According to this theory, after the destruction of the supreme worlds in the past, some ancient worlds would also be formed, and there would be traces of predecessors. The 100 races of the celestial realm existed for 1,000 cycles, and there were 1,000 cycles of history and civilization. However, this civilization was not enough to support the passage of the God-destroying tribulation. Therefore, Tran Hung had always planned to search for the remains of predecessors and combine the current 100 races to find a way to pass the God-destroying tribulation. 2 eras ago, Tran Hung had begun to find ancient remains. The Great Prophecy technique was obtained from the ancient remains, which also proved that his thoughts were correct. Those spatial worlds should be called ancient worlds. Their civilizations are ancient and complex, and they are not easy to find. The area where the world tree is may be the entrance to the ancient worlds. Tran Hung threw out a piece of information that made Night Sorrow dumbfounded. Night Sorrow was a little stunned. He needed some time to digest this information. The Great Prophecy technique is the proof of the existence of ancient civilizations. It is a different cultivation system. If we can obtain other cultivation civilizations, in addition to our own cultivation civilization of 1,000 cycles, then it will be much easier for the cultivators of the 100 races of the celestial realm to rise. It will also increase our chances of passing the God-destroying tribulation, Tran Hung said. So you're saying that our first task is to deal with the world tree and enter the world gate? Night Sorrow asked. It's not that easy. The world tree is called the Hong Meng tree. It is a spiritual object that was created at the beginning of the world. It is extremely difficult for us to get close to it and avoid its seal. Tran Hung took a sip of tea and shook his head at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow did not speak. He did not have the right to speak if he did not understand. The ancient world also has cultivators. The Great Prophecy technique was obtained after I won a battle with the ancient world's cultivators. Any ancient world that has not been truly destroyed has strong cultivators. Their cultivation civilization has a long history, and the chances of them producing strong cultivators are very high. The ancient world that I went to, their cultivation civilization was called Technique. They analyzed and dissected energy, then combined it to form a tyrannical fighting force. Look, this is the Yin-Yang Limitless technique. Tran Hung waved his hand and released an extremely powerful energy blade into the air. Night Sorrow stood up in surprise. The energy on Tran Hung's body did not fluctuate. This extremely powerful Yin-Yang Limitless technique was created out of thin air. This is the Yin-Yang Limitless technique that I analyzed based on the inheritance of the Great Prophecy technique. It is also called the Great Ultimate Technique, Tran Hung said. Isn't this too scary? Night Sorrow muttered as he watched the limitless blade fly into the air. The rise of a civilization is accompanied by the fall of a civilization. This is not because the civilization is weak, but because all kinds of natural and man-made disasters cause the inheritance to be broken. I have been trying to find other inheritances for the past 2 eras. This time, outside the world tree, I met a pure martial cultivator. Their cultivation inheritance should be similar to your Myriad Tao Bible, Tran Hung said. Chapter 2189. Yes, there's always someone better. Heaven Wasteland, the Celestial Realm, and the 9-domain world. These 3 supreme worlds are close to each other, so there are conflicts and wars. In the past, the races of the supreme worlds did not discover our existence. If they did, both the Heaven Wasteland domain and the Celestial Realm would be in great danger. Everyone wants to control the supreme worlds, Tran Hung said. City Lord, please wait for a moment. Let me organize my thoughts. Night Sorrow stood up and paced back and forth in thought. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow realized that the existence of the ancient world was both an opportunity and a crisis for the races of the celestial realm. He also understood why Tran Hung had asked him to protect the 9-domain world. Because the world was in chaos, the celestial realm might not be able to protect itself. Only when the 9-domain world was stable would the races of the celestial realm have space to live. Seeing Night Sorrow in thought, Tran Hung understood that Night Sorrow had understood the importance of this matter. City Lord, Starmoon City is the gateway to the 9-domain world. I've already used Monarch Spirit Stones and Emperor Spirit Stones to strengthen the protective formation. It's now the 3rd most important place in the celestial realm. Apart from the restrictions of the formation and the teleportation formation, Enchanting will also appear in Star Moon City if there's a war. This time, it's also because of her that Enchanting did not attack Star Moon City, Night Sorrow said. Tran Hung was surprised and asked about the meeting between Enchanting and Enchanting. After knowing the result, Tran Hung felt more at ease. It's not easy to treat her well. She changed her position in the past. She's one of us now. I understand. With the current situation, if we don't handle it well, the celestial realm will be filled with smoke. Night Sorrow sighed. Yes. We live in a chaotic world. There's nothing we can do about it. There are no outsiders. We can talk behind closed doors. The 9-domain world must be protected. As for the celestial realm, it will be a battlefield in the future. It will be a chaotic battlefield. For me, King Yowu, the Grand Elder, and you, the next era will be a battle. If one of us can pass the God-destroying tribulation, then we can stabilize the situation. If not, then the demon-winged race will be in the demon imperial city. Tran Hung smiled helplessly. The primal chaos domain world has 3 major worlds. If there's war, some of the weaker races of the celestial realm can move there. However, there are some things that need to be said in advance. The primal chaos realm can provide living space, but the main point is harmony. Night Sorrow said. He was the master of the primal chaos domain world. He had to think about some things. He was responsible for the billions of holy spirits in the primal chaos domain world. This is a way out. It's good to have a way out in a time of war. If they don't listen, then there's no need for them to exist. Desperate times call for desperate measures. There's another point. Your god-slaying team is a good seedling. You need to focus on nurturing them. If you need any support, the Council of Elders and the City Lord of the Celestial Realms Twin Cities will fully support you. Tran Hung nodded to Night Sorrow. He agreed with Night Sorrow's point of view. Night Sorrow nodded. Tran Hung's thoughts and views were almost the same as his. There was almost no need for discussion. You still have to guard the Heavenly Desolation City. I'll let you know when there's news about the ancient world. Get ready for battle. None of it will be easy. Tran Hung shook his head and left. After Tran Hung left, Night Sorrow rubbed his face. He felt pressure but also excitement. He felt that the days ahead would be exciting. Still rubbing your face. What's wrong? Are you feeling pressure? Lin Piaomiao sat beside Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled and helped Lin Piaomiao closer to him. I'm fine. How are you doing as the Grand Elder? Are things going well? Lin Piaomiao leaned her body on Yishang's shoulder. It went very smoothly. Other than the City Lord and the Grand Elder's support, there's also your young City Lord's husband behind them. The elders of the Council of Elders gave us face. It's not a matter of face. It's your ability. Haven't you been home recently? Xiao Ke and the others are cultivating well. Night Sorrow said as he reached out and smoothed out Lin Piaomiao's hair that was messed up by the wind. The children are doing well. There's nothing to worry about. After this difficult period is over, I'll give up my position as the Grand Elder and return to the 9-domain world to help my husband and children in the city in the sky. What do you think? Lin Piaomiao raised her head and looked at Night Sorrow. Patting Lin Piaomiao's shoulder, Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that his wives all wanted to live a stable life. It was just that they couldn't settle down now. Forever and ever free 9ZLZLOB little Q said. With a thought, Night Sorrow carried Lin Piaomiao into the clear sky pagoda. His main body had been cultivating and hadn't been with his wife for a long time. After coming out of the clear sky pagoda, Night Sorrow once again gave the clear sky pagoda to his doppelganger. His main body went to the top of the clear sky pagoda to recover from his injuries. At the same time, he continued to cultivate. His doppelganger patrolled the clear sky pagoda. He also took a look at the clear sky pagoda team and the clear sky steel guards. Everything was progressing steadily. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow's doppelganger entered the teleportation circle and arrived at the god's capital. He first went to the Humanitarian League's headquarters. The few elders of the Humanitarian League, Lin Piaomiao, Great Demon King, and Pu Luo, spent most of their time in the clear sky pagoda. After all, they were the upper echelons of the Council of Elders. They had to deal with matters. Ruisi and Yu Zhu stayed at the Humanitarian League's headquarters to seek leisure. Seeing Knight Sorrow arrive, Yu Zhu poured a cup of tea for Knight Sorrow. "Young city lord, shouldn't you be very busy now? Why are you running around?" "I'm just moving my mouth. There's nothing to be busy about. You guys are so free," Knight Sorrow said with a smile. "Don't talk about you guys. I'm not free." Jun Xuanji glanced at Knight Sorrow. I know that our chief steward Jun is busy, so I came to take a look. The Humanitarian League belongs to everyone. If it was mine, I would have given it to you directly. I'm occupying the position and not doing anything, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. He also spoke the truth. Knight Sorrow didn't do much in the Humanitarian League, but he was the core of the organization. Apart from his wife, Lin Piaomiao, Pu Luo, and the Great Demon King were all willing to give Knight Sorrow face. Jun Xuanji wasn't at that level. With Knight Sorrow around, Jun Xuanji could mobilize the members of the 6 superpowers of the Humanitarian League. Without Knight Sorrow, the situation was completely different. "You think I'm willing to interfere?" "Oh right, I heard that you were injured. It's not serious, is it?" Jun Xuanji asked Knight Sorrow. "I have a rotten life that can't be killed. It's not that easy for anyone to kill me," Knight Sorrow smiled. "Alliance Lord, you're wrong. There are billions of races in the celestial realm. No one's life is more precious than yours. How can the human emperor of the celestial realm's races have a rotten life?" Yu Zhu rebutted Knight Sorrow. "That's true. When you're free, come to my residence in the heavenly desolate city. We can drink and chat. I'm going to see Martial Uncle now. He's injured, and I don't know how he's recovering." Knight Sorrow stood up. He had come to see King Yowu to ask some questions. Chapter 2190. Why would I hide from you? Martial Uncle King Yowu is injured. I have to go and take a look, Knight Sorrow explained. It's been so long and you haven't even come to the divine capital once, Jun Xuanji asked. Knight Sorrow shook his head. My 9-domain clones can't leave the 9-domain world. My main body is cultivating on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge while my battle clone is in the Desolate Mountain. I don't have the time. Manager Jun, if there's anything, you can tell us. The Alliance Master is really busy right now, Ruisi explained on behalf of Knight Sorrow. Zhu Jiuyun, who had been sitting beside Jun Xuanji, wanted to laugh. Ruisi's explanation was reasonable, but it was not the main point. Jun Xuanji could even solve the Humanitarian League's problem. Knight Sorrow was not coming because she was unhappy about something else. Starter LR Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyun knew the same thing, but they could not say it out loud. They could only accept Ruisi's attack. Alright then. If you have anything, find Ruisi. If Ruisi can't solve it, then find me in the Desolate Mountain, Knight Sorrow said and left. In fact, Knight Sorrow had already forgotten about that incident. He did not want to mention it again. It would be difficult to get rid of it. Watching Yishang leave, Jun Xuanji knew that the previous incident had caused a rift between Yishang and her. He shouldn't have asked that question. If he hadn't asked, the matter would have slowly faded away, and Yi Shang's heart wouldn't have left a mark. Now that he mentioned it, Yi Shang could only avoid it. Night Sorrow saw King Yawu and Fan Tian in front of the grass hut at the peak of Yawu Mountain. Because of the huge gap, Fan Tian had been working hard recently and often came to cultivate with King Yawu. This time, he was also guarding King Yawu. Night Sorrow is here. Sit. King Yawu opened his eyes and invited Night Sorrow to sit. Martial Uncle, how are you? Is the Heavenly Tao Flowers effect okay? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. King Yawu nodded. Don't worry. The effect is very good. After recovering for a while, the effects this time will disappear. Furthermore, there will be some benefits to the body. After hearing King Yawu's words, Night Sorrow felt relieved. He was worried that the battle this time would bring irreparable damage to King Yawu. If that happened, it would be difficult for him to pass the god-destroying tribulation. Of course, it was still difficult now. However, if there was an opportunity, he would fight for it. No one would give up. Then, King Yawu asked about the current arrangement of the Heavenly Desolate City. Night Sorrow explained it in detail. Everyone understood that the Demon Wings clan would not launch a second wave of attacks in a short period of time. The only one of the Demon Wings clan who could really fight head-on was Mo Yutian, and the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm had several giants. The Demon Wings clan had no chance of winning. It's a pity that we can't break the Demon Imperial City and completely suppress the Demon Wings clan. King Yawu shook his head helplessly. That is the foundation of the Demon Wings clan. We can't solve it now. Night Sorrow nodded. The existence of the Demon Imperial City was a mountain that blocked the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm from expelling the Demon Wings clan. Countless ancestors of the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm sighed. Work hard. I'll give you time. Your chances are much higher than ours, King Yawu said. Then, Night Sorrow asked King Yawu about the ancient world. It seems that you know about the ancient world and the ancient inheritance. In the Celestial Realm, only Uncle Master, the City Master of the Heavenly Desolate City, and the Grand Elder know about it. I didn't tell anyone else because I didn't want to cause a commotion. Since you know about it, there's no harm in telling you. It's real. King Yawu nodded. After talking with King Yawu for a while, Night Sorrow returned to the Heavenly Desolate City. It was useless to know some things. What he needed was strength. Without strength, what was the point of knowing about the ancient world? Besides, the ancient inheritance was the most urgent thing for Tran Hung and King Yawu because they had reached a point where they couldn't improve. Night Sorrow had a lot of room for improvement, so he should focus on improving his realm. After returning to the Heavenly Desolate City, Night Sorrow's doppelganger went to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. He took out the Hautian Godly Pagoda and started to cultivate the Sky Attraction chant. The Heavenly Desolate City was quiet, but the Demon Imperial City wasn't. After returning to the Demon Imperial City, Mo Zhantian took some healing pills and stabilized his injuries. Then, he called for Mo Lu, my lord. Mo Lu bowed and didn't dare to look at Mo Zhantian. He knew that Mo Zhantian didn't have a good start this time. Of the group of people who went, bring those who left behind their clones. Mo Zhantian instructed Mo Lu. This time, Mo Zhantian brought the elites of the Demon-Winged clan to battle. He planned to fight for a long time, so the young elites of the Demon-Winged clan went with their true bodies. Then, Mo Lu came with a few people, including Yin Xiaotian and Mo Yuqing. Mo Feiying also went to battle, but he didn't have a doppelganger. This time, I did not succeed. The main reason is that I was targeted by someone. You guys need to hide in the Celestial Realm. Do it well. If possible, occupy a force first and steadily operate in the Celestial Realm. Also, the teleportation crystals are in your hands. As for when to deploy them, wait for my orders, Enchanting said. Enchanting felt that there was no need to arrange the teleportation array immediately. He needed to heal his injuries and couldn't fight in a short time. Even if he entered the celestial realm, it would be useless. Rest assured, my lord. The elites of the demon-winged clan bowed. Dark Feather, you will be fully responsible for the matters of the team. Those who don't listen to orders will be executed. The rest of you listen well. If I hear any of you disobeying orders, don't live and cooperate with me. Dark Feather, you will follow me and report the situation of the team at all times. Enchanting issued a series of orders. Enchanting and the others bowed. Enchanting was very proud, but he also understood that he was an external force in the demon-winged clan. Enchanting was not only strong, but also a direct descendant of the demon-winged clan. He was the descendant of Enchanting's tribe. Enchanting, remember one thing. Be very cautious. Whether you guys are safe in the celestial realm or not is related to whether our demon-winged clan can enter the celestial realm, Enchanting said to Enchanting. Watching the elites of the demon-winged clan leave, Enchanting shook his head. At that time, Night Sorrow, Enchanting, Feiing and Enchanting were cultivators of the same level, but now? Night Sorrow had already rushed into the intermediate Emperor Tribulation level, while Enchanting and the others were only at the second Emperor Tribulation level. The gap was getting bigger and bigger. At this time, in the depths of a mountain range in the celestial realm, Enchanting was in a meeting with the 200 people of the demon-winged clan, conveying Enchanting's orders. Captain Yuching, what should we do now? Should we find a tribe that has no contact with the outside world and conquer it? Feiing asked. After hearing Enchanting's orders, Feiing was a little unwilling, but he still obeyed. The fall of his avatar had affected his future achievements, and his status in the demon-winged clan was no longer as high as Enchanting's. Chapter 2191. The members of the Demon Wing race were loyal to their race. After Enchanting gave the order, more than a dozen Demon Wing race members stood out. Among you, if you have a doppelganger, leave your original body behind. If there's a problem, don't hesitate to self-destruct. Our team must not reveal our whereabouts. Our main sources of information are Tianhuang City, Night Sorrow, and the 9-domain world. Enchanting looked at the elites of the Demon Wing race and said. After spreading out the spies, Enchanting ordered the team to set up camp. She was now carrying out Enchanting's plan of seeking stability. /update, new *% soonest Aeon Lai Shang's 9 Realms doppelganger had embedded Emperor Spirit Stones into the head of the Ice Dragon King, while its claws and tail were embedded with Emperor Spirit Stones. He had done the same for the Profound Ice Unicorn Tiger King in Sky City. He had also replaced the core of the defensive formation with Emperor Spirit Stones, turning the Dragon Tiger formation into an Imperial Tribulation level formation. Tianji's doppelganger was in the process of being nurtured. Her original body followed Night Sorrow and watched as Night Sorrow changed the formation. Having a strong foundation and being able to afford squandering, it feels different. Tianji said emotionally after watching Night Sorrow change the formation. I have to squander. The sense of crisis is too strong. The celestial realm is now the target of many forces. They want to use the celestial realm as a springboard to attack the 9-domain world. It's difficult to defend the entire celestial realm. I can't do it either. However, I have to defend the 9-domain world. I'll kill whoever comes, Night Sorrow said. For you and for us, the 9-domain world is the foundation. We can't afford to lose it. Currently, the 9-domain world is a new world. It's developing into a supreme world. It's relatively far from the extraterrestrial worlds. As time passes, the extraterrestrial worlds will approach the 9-domain world. At that time, there will be danger. Mo Tianji said. I'm the realm lord of the 9 regions world. When some spatial worlds approach, I'll know in advance. If I can control them, then there's nothing to say. If I can't control them, then I'll deal with them as soon as possible. Knight Sorrow said. For the sake of the billions of holy spirits in the 9 regions world, Knight Sorrow was filled with killing intent. The Buddha's heart and the demon's heart. Maybe you are doing a great deed, said Mo Tianji. Perhaps. By the way, aren't you going to ask about the battle between my martial uncle and Mo Enchanting? Knight Sorrow asked. It doesn't matter whether I ask or not. With you in the middle, Mo Enchanting will definitely be at a disadvantage. If I'm not wrong, he should have been seriously injured and then ran back to the Demon Imperial City. Mo Tianji looked at Knight Sorrow and smiled. He wanted to deduce the beginning destruction / so he had to first successfully cultivate the infinite destruction / the spacetime destruction / and the void destruction / Then, he could fuse them. Now, he was at the 3rd step. Knight Sorrow went to cultivate, and Mo Tianji also entered the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pavilion. She was now nourishing her doppelgangers, and at the same time organizing what she had learned in the past. Once her doppelgangers finished nourishing and fused with their souls, she would work hard to pass the God-destroying tribulation. After entering the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pavilion, Mo Tianji's mood was not very calm. When Knight Sorrow said not to hate him, Mo Tianji knew that Knight Sorrow was a kind person and sincerely treated her as a friend. He did not want her to be unhappy and hold a grudge. To put it bluntly, he was actually coaxing her. She appreciated this kindness, and she also understood that it was rare to have a friend like Knight Sorrow who was so considerate. All the forces in the celestial realm moved. They all sent their cultivators out to gain experience, and they all gave the order to search for the foreign races. Knight Sorrow's original body and his 2 doppelgangers were working hard in cultivation. The improvement of the realm had to be done slowly, and he was pursuing the improvement of his battle strength. He wanted to cultivate the beginning destruction / Time slowly slipped away in this state. The cultivators in the heavenly desolate city could see Knight Sorrow's figure cultivating every day, but they did not see him move. Knight Sorrow cultivated the heaven attraction chant, and he no longer needed to get up. His soul power could draw the energy of heaven and earth into his body to study and analyze. In addition, Knight Sorrow realized that he could not cultivate like this. His infinity attribute had reached a bottleneck, and he could not analyze anything. There was no need for useless efforts. Chapter 2192. The ancestor of the Demon Wing clan was the most outstanding cultivator in the history of the Demon Wing clan. His spirit sea was already at the God Emperor realm. He had passed more than half of the God-destroying tribulation, and his spirit sea had completed its evolution. However, his body was still destroyed by the God-destroying tribulation in the end. Knight Sorrow had only heard about the Demon Imperial City and the ancestor of the Demon Wing clan. He was quite curious. This time, he planned to take a look and even give it a try. He wanted to see if his 6 stars Emperor King's fire could break through the defense. As for the danger, Knight Sorrow knew that there was. However, he felt that if someone wanted to kill him, they would have to take out the power of the 7 Emperors' tribulation. The 6 Emperors' tribulation was not enough. No one knew that Knight Sorrow's clone had left the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Knight Sorrow also did not want others to know. If the people around him knew, they would definitely not agree. In addition, he did not want others to worry. Knight Sorrow's speed was very fast. Even without the teleportation formation, he could reach the peak of the heavenly desolate mountain in just a day. In addition, the teleportation formation was not destroyed. When he reached the peak of the heavenly desolate mountain, Night Sorrow found that his stronghold was still there. No one came to destroy it. This also let him know that the Demon Wing clan was very cautious. The Heavenly Desolate Mountain was a dangerous area. They simply did not come. After resting in the Heavenly Desolate Mountain for 2 days, Night Sorrow set off. He had a very complete map of the Heavenly Desolate Mountain in his hand. He had obtained it from the spoils of war on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. The Demon Wing clan used to live in a world called the Heavenly Desolate Domain. Therefore, the area they occupied in the celestial realm was called the Heavenly Desolate Domain. The area was very large, about a quarter of the celestial realm's territory. After leaving the Heavenly Desolate Mountain, Night Sorrow arrived at the city ruled by the Demon Wing clan. Looking at himself, Night Sorrow's energy changed a bit and changed his body. It was very easy for Night Sorrow to change the structure of his body. The flesh and blood in his body were like energy crystals. With a casual combination, he had the characteristics of the Demon Wing clan. Horns and wings appeared. Night Sorrow also had a passageway token, and it was a rather high-grade one. The experts he had killed on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge were all experts of the Devil Wing race, so their status in the Devil Wing race wasn't low. Therefore, there wouldn't be any problem for him to pass through the Heaven Wasteland region. After entering the city, Night Sorrow found that the social organization of the Demon Wing clan was different from that of the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. Although the degree of civilization was not low, the atmosphere of valiance was very strong. The men were all wearing loose pants, exposing their upper bodies. The women were also wearing revealing clothes. They were completely different from Motianji in terms of aura and temperament. They were very ostentatious. There were many taverns in the city, but there was only one tea house. Night Sorrow entered the tea house and ordered a pot of tea. He mainly wanted to hear what the Demon Winged race was saying. He wanted to find out more information. The tea houses of the Celestial Realm were very quiet. The customers would pay attention to the atmosphere and wouldn't disturb others. They were looking for a peaceful feeling when drinking tea. However, this wasn't the case on Heaven Wasteland. The people drinking tea were also very eloquent. After listening for a while, Night Sorrow understood that these people were talking about the battle between the Demon Wing clan and the Celestial Realm. These people didn't know about Enchanting's defeat. They were now loudly discussing the Demon Imperial City's order to not go to the Heaven Wasteland Mountain. A human brat has appeared in the Heavenly Desolate Mountain. He has caused our Devil Wings clan to suffer. Many elites of our Devil Wings clan have died in his hands. Mo Shouting of the Dark King tribe and Mo Cheng of the Nether King tribe have also died in his hands. Apart from these two, many of our clansmen have also been killed by him. He is the greatest enemy of our Devil Wings clan, and also the stumbling block of our Devil Wings clan's conquest of the world. A man from the Devil Wings clan shouted. Then, a group of people cursed. Those curses were comparable to flogging a corpse. Night Sorrow understood that it wasn't that the Demon Wing clan was afraid. It was that the higher-ups of the Demon Wing clan were worried that there would be an ambush in the Heaven Wasteland Mountain. Therefore, they didn't allow their clansmen to go before they cleaned up. After staying in the tea house for a while, Night Sorrow left. The tea in the tea house didn't taste good. Night Sorrow only took a sip. It was very bitter. The culture of the tea ceremony was still relatively low. After leaving the tea house, Night Sorrow went to the transmission formation and headed for the big city. He didn't want to fight now, mainly because he didn't want to act rashly and alert the enemy. He came this time to see the Demon Imperial City, nothing else. In addition, Night Sorrow also knew that these Demon Wing clan members were marginal members of the Demon Wing clan. They came to the Heaven Wasteland domain to develop. The real members of the Demon Wing clan were either in the Heaven Wasteland domain, in the Demon Imperial City, or around the Demon Imperial City. They wouldn't live in a small city. Whether these people were killed or not, the higher-ups of the Demon Wing clan didn't care. Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian also knew that the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm wouldn't easily attack the Heaven Wasteland domain. It wasn't that they couldn't take it, but that they couldn't defend it. In other words, after the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm occupied this area, it would be a burden that was difficult to defend. In a tavern in a big city, Knight Sorrow heard a few names. He really knew these people. They were Mo Feiying and Mo Yuqing. The two of them and another person called Mo Yufan were known as the Three Heroes. They were the most outstanding cultivators of the 8th era of reincarnation. Knight Sorrow didn't know about Mo Yufan, an elite of the Demon Wing clan, but Knight Sorrow was all too familiar with Mo Feiying. That guy's doppelganger and real body had fought together to trap him. In the end, it was Mo Zhantian who saved the real body. In addition, he also knew Mo Yuqing. He was the leader of the Demon Wing clan's Imperial Tribulation team. Hearing these names, Knight Sorrow just shook his head. Back then, these people were at the same level as him, but with his hard work, the gap between their realms and strength had widened. If they met again, he could easily kill them. While inquiring for information, Knight Sorrow slowly went deep into the core area of the Demon Wing clan. While stabilizing his injuries, Mo Zhantian pondered. He didn't expect Mo Tianji to still be alive in this world, let alone her attitude towards him. This meant that Mo Tianji had really given up on the Demon Wing clan. Mo Zhantian couldn't understand why Mo Tianji's will had changed. He was very clear about Mo Tianji's willpower. She wouldn't compromise unless she reached a certain level. He simply couldn't understand. Mo Zhantian felt that when there was time and opportunity, it was better to ask her face to face. After all, guesses weren't facts. Mo Zhantian also felt very powerless. Now, he was alone. He couldn't withstand the war with the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. Whether it was Tran Hung or King Yawu, they both brought him great pressure. He was now healing his injuries while waiting for Mo Yutian to come out of seclusion. Knight Sorrow advanced while inquiring for information. Along the way, Knight Sorrow learned more and more about the Demon Wing clan. After a month and a half, Knight Sorrow reached the core area of the Demon Wing clan and the area where the Demon Imperial City was located. From afar, Knight Sorrow saw the Demon Imperial City. It was an extremely terrifying skull, sitting on a great plain. It was almost impossible to see its entire face with the naked eye. The skull was wrapped in dense energy. Chapter 2193. The gigantic skull covered an area of who knew how many miles. In addition, the energy that flowed out of the 7 apertures of the skull also covered some areas. Not only in the Celestial Wasteland region, but in the entire Celestial Realm, the demonic Imperial City was the #1 fortress. The defense of the Celestial Wasteland City and the Holy Capital City in the Celestial Realm could not be compared to that of the demonic Imperial City. The ancestor of the demonic winged clan had fallen, but it was a fact that he was born in the demonic winged clan. He had a natural affinity and protection for the descendants of the demonic winged clan. In the thousands of reincarnations of the demonic winged clan, some experts had set up a formation. The formation and the skull were perfectly integrated, and it became the strongest fortress in the Celestial Realm. Looking at the demonic Imperial City, Knight Sorrow felt powerless. His cultivation of the tribulation of the 4 emperors meant that the energy in his body was very strong. But compared to the surging energy of the demonic Imperial City, it was just a drop in the ocean. This situation made Knight Sorrow fall into deep thought. For the attacking party, killing their way in and breaking the defense of the demonic Imperial City were 2 different things. The former Shura Empress Yi Tianxin had killed her way in, but the defense of the demonic Imperial City was still there. After she killed her way in, her strength was suppressed, and she could not do much. She had to retreat after exhausting herself. Moving his feet, Knight Sorrow walked towards the demonic imperial city. Since he was here, he had to feel it. As he approached, Knight Sorrow felt that he was different from the other demonic winged clan members. He was repelled. In other words, the energy released by the demonic imperial city did not harm or repel the demonic winged clan members, but it repelled him. This made Knight Sorrow understand that it was a problem with the origin of life. It was because his soul was different from the demonic winged clan members that the energy of the demonic imperial city targeted him. Unwilling to retreat like this, Knight Sorrow decided to try again. As for being exposed, Knight Sorrow was not afraid. He had already set up a transportation formation for escape. As long as he was discovered, he could throw out the newly refined advanced defense formation to block the attack and teleport away. As they got closer, Yishang felt the pressure increase. Of course, he had to bear the pressure. But as he did, the energy of the Matrix in the magic imperial city changed. It increased the suppression on Yishang. Wave after wave of energy attacked Yishang. At this time, many cultivators of the Demon Wing clan had already realized that something was wrong, because such a situation would not occur normally. Spy. Some of the demonic winged clan members realized something was amiss. Yishang sighed in his heart. There was nothing he could do about it. The defense of the magic imperial city was too strong, and it was an automatic defense. Under such circumstances, it would be impossible for him not to be discovered. How dare you! At this time, Mo Yutian roared. He was in control of the demonic imperial city's array. Naturally, he would know when the energy of the array changed. There's nothing to be bold about. I'll come back here again. But remember, I won't leave so easily next time. After Yishang threw out the defensive array disc, he activated the teleportation array disc. The moment the teleportation began, Yishang took the defensive array disc away. An Emperor Tribulation Realm array disc was a treasure. Naturally, he couldn't leave it behind. Knight Sorrow's figure disappeared. Mo Yutian went to where Knight Sorrow was standing. He was interrupted in the middle of cultivation and had to come out. The defense of the demonic imperial city was greater than the sky for the demonic winged clan. Seeing Knight Sorrow's figure leave, Mo Yutian's face turned pale. Knight Sorrow had come to the demonic imperial city. This meant that the defense of the demonic winged clan was too lax. With one transportation formation, Knight Sorrow was tens of thousands of miles away from the demonic imperial city and arrived at a safe area. Knight Sorrow knew that if he wanted to break into the demonic imperial city, he had to at least be able to withstand the interference and attacks. Otherwise, he would be killed before he could do anything. It's that bastard. He's too troublesome. If there's a chance, I must kill him first. Mo Zhantian stopped healing and went to the gate of the demonic imperial city. Zhantian, what happened to you? Mo Yutian was shocked to see Mo Zhantian's weak aura and without the protection of the power of faith. He did not know how Mo Zhantian ended up like this. Let's go back and talk. This matter can't be explained in a few words. Mo Zhantian shook his head. He was also very angry at the mention of this matter. Back in the demonic imperial city's heaven battling pavilion, Mo Zhantian told everyone about the failure of his mission. He also mentioned Mo Tianji. Tianji has given up on our demonic winged clan. Mo Yutian, who was sitting down, stood up in shock when he heard about Mo Tianji. I don't know. She was very determined. Something must have happened that we don't know about. Mo Zhantian shook his head. Mo Yutian did not say anything. The two of them did not say anything to persuade Mo Tianji. They were both strong-willed people. Once they had decided on something, no one could persuade them. Right now, we don't have the ability to attack. We can only defend. You should accumulate more and prepare for the god-destroying tribulation. I don't stand a chance. If they can't survive the god-destroying tribulation, then our two clans will still be on the same starting line. After chatting for a while, Mo Yutian controlled his doppelganger to recuperate. Then, he went to work on the defense around the demonic imperial city. Knight Sorrow's arrival was not scary. He was afraid that the giants of the celestial realm would come. If Tran Hung and King Yawu came, then there would be a hole in the defense of the demonic imperial city. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. After leaving the demonic imperial city, Knight Sorrow went to the peak of Mount Tianhuang. He went to the demonic imperial city. He did not understand anything, but he saw how powerful the demonic imperial city was. He knew that his current strength was far from enough. After thinking about it, Knight Sorrow felt that it was meaningless to occupy the peak of Mount Tianhuang. In the words of Tran Hung and the others, as long as they could not take down the demonic imperial city, it would be useless to occupy the territory. After leaving the peak of Mount Tianhuang, Knight Sorrow returned to the demonic imperial city. The devil-winged clan sought stability, and he also needed time to raise his cultivation base in a stable environment. After returning to the demonic imperial city, Knight Sorrow checked the defense of the city again. After saying goodbye to his wives, he entered the demonic imperial space. The demonic imperial space had a time acceleration of 60 times. He could study the beginning of the slash of destruction as soon as possible. Mo Yuqing led a group of people to set up camp in the Mount Tianhuang. The spies sent out one after another brought back news, mainly about the Nine Domains world. The Nine Domains world was not a secret in the celestial realm, but the cultivators outside the Nine Domains world and the Chaos Domain could not enter. There was only one way to enter the Nine Domains world, and that was to get Knight Sorrow's permission. Scout and find the low-level cultivators of the Nine Domains world. If we can control one or two, then we can break into the Nine Domains world, Mo Yuqing said. Yin Xiaotian, Mo Feiying and the others did not speak. They supported Mo Yuqing's decision, because they knew that the demonic winged clan's attack on the celestial realm was not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal was to occupy the new supreme world. Chapter 2194. Qing Lin and Qing Wan came out to train in their true bodies. Their doppelgangers were still in Xingyue City. The two of them arrived at Tianhuang City. Because they teleported directly from Night Moon Villa, the guards in Tianhuang City did not stop them. However, to confirm their identities, the commander personally sent them to Knight Sorrow's residence. Knight Sorrow was cultivating in seclusion. Qing Lin and Qing Wan did not see Knight Sorrow. As his sister-in-law, Lin Piaomiao, Datura, and the others warmly welcomed Qing Lin and Qing Wan and invited them to stay. Elder Lin, you don't have to be so polite. We are embarrassed. Our father wants us to travel more and have a bright future. If we can't even enter the heavenly monarch realm, it's even more impossible to become an emperor, Qing Wan said. This mainly depends on fate and opportunity. When the opportunity comes, you can understand it. There are more opportunities in battle and travel, but you have to be careful, Lin Piaomiao said. Thank you, Elder Lin. We will be careful. Qing Wan nodded. Her personality had changed a lot. It was mainly because she was more knowledgeable. She knew that her level was low and there was a lot of room for her to work hard. That's fine. Don't be so polite. If you need to come, just come. The guards in Tianhuang City know you and will not stop you in the future, Lin Piaomiao said. New wide, fastest you up B, 9 Qing Lin and Qing Wan cupped their hands to Lin Piaomiao, Datura, and the others. Although they were Knight Sorrow's senior brother and senior sister, Lin Piaomiao and Datura's status and cultivation were higher than theirs. They had to be respectful. things change. The scene of Night Sorrow fighting for our Qing Emperor's dynasty is still vivid in my mind. Now, he is a Tribulation 4 Emperor's cultivator and a top expert in the celestial realm. However, we are still stuck at rank 8. It's embarrassing. Qing Luan lamented. Qing Lin nodded. He didn't say much, mainly because he felt ashamed. Back then, he and Qing Luan had made things difficult for Night Sorrow. Brother, don't think too much. Let's figure out where we are going first, Qing Luan said. She knew how Qing Lin felt because she felt the same way. If we're talking about opportunities and opportunities, the 9-domain world has the most at the moment. However, it's not suitable for us to go there. Junior brother's children and disciples are all training in the celestial realm and are not fighting for opportunities in the 9-domain world. We can't be too shameless. How about this? Let's go to the Ethereal Dynasty. No matter what, that area is part of Starmoon City's radiation zone, Qing Lin said. Qing Lin and Qing Luan teleported back to the Ethereal Empire. After exiting the teleportation formation, they entered a tea house first. They were going to train, so they had to have a plan. Royal Brother, the most famous place in the Ethereal Dynasty is the Twilight Tea House. However, we can't afford it. Let Junior Brother bring us there next time, Qing Luan said. The Twilight Tea House was not only the signature of the Ethereal Dynasty, but also the place where the tea culture of the celestial realm was displayed. Everyone who loved tea knew about the Twilight Tea House and was proud to be able to drink tea in the Twilight Tea House. However, the Twilight Tea House was not something most people could afford. The price was indeed high. These two came out of the Night Moon Villa and took the teleportation formation to the Sky Desolate City. Those who come out of the Night Moon Villa are basically from the 9-domain world and are Night Sorrow's friends. These two are at the 8th rank. We'll keep an eye on them and report to the captain now. A demon-winged clan spy said. It wasn't that the Ethereal Dynasty didn't have any 9th rank cultivators. The highest was the Emperor rank. The spies sent out by Dark Feather were either high-class Emperor rank or early-stage Emperor rank elites. They also deliberately hid their aura. In the absence of Lin Piaomiao and Night Sorrow, it was difficult for others to discover them. Hearing the spies' report, Dark Feather knew that this was an opportunity. However, the problem of the main body and the clone made her a little worried. Do all the cultivators of the celestial realm have a clone? Yin Xiaotian asked Dark Feather. Almost all the cultivators above the 8th rank have one. Perhaps their main body and clone are together, but what if they aren't together? If this problem can't be solved, we can only take it slow. We can even make friends first and slowly walk the emotional path. Dark Feather said after thinking for a moment. Making friends with them is simply a disgrace. Mo Feiying was very unhappy, but he didn't object because it was necessary for the overall situation. You guys keep an eye on them. Show your cultivation base a little lower. Even say that you have to do something for them at the cost of your life to win their friendship. In addition, inquire about the situation of their main body and clone. When there's an opportunity, we'll make a move. Dark Feather issued an order. She intended to work in many aspects. After making the arrangements, Dark Feather reported to Mo Zhantian, who was meditating in the Heaven Battling building. Exhaling, Mo Zhantian opened his eyes. Very well arranged. The opportunity to infiltrate the Heaven realm was not easy to come by. The opportunity to infiltrate the 9-domain world was even rarer. Let's do it this way. Remember to be extremely cautious. Sovereign Dark Feather bowed. Her plan had also been carefully considered. There is also a more important point. If you want to enter the 9-domain world, you have to deceive the 2 8th rank cultivators and enter in the form of a space treasure. Because your aura cannot be concealed from Night Sorrow, who is the domain lord. Only then will it be safe to enter the 9-domain world. Enchanting reminded. He did not say it out loud. He was not only afraid that Night Sorrow would discover that the aura of the demon-winged clan was not right, but he was also worried about Enchanting. The moment Enchanting unsheathed her sword, Enchanting already had a measure in his heart. He knew that Enchanting was no longer in the same team as him. Darkfeather nodded. She would arrange these things properly. She was already preparing some backup plans. How about the team? There are several people from other domains in your team. You have to pay attention to them. Whether they are allies or not, the demon-winged clan must take the initiative. No matter what we arrange, they have to obey. Not only now, but also in the future. Enchanting finished speaking and continued to meditate to heal. In the depths of the celestial realm, Darkfeather found another scheming and shrewd elite of the demon-winged clan. He was one of the 3 heroes of the demon-winged clan, Darkfeather Fan. She told him about Enchanting's intention. Darkfeather Fan will naturally obey the arrangements of the divine ancestor. I will do whatever the captain arranges. Are you not going to tell Fei Ying about this? The gentle-looking Darkfeather Fan asked. He had a good relationship with Fei Ying, so he did not want Fei Ying to be isolated by Darkfeather Fan. Not for the time being. It's not that I don't trust him. We are all members of the demon-winged clan. There is no such thing as mutual respect. It's just that Fei Ying's character is irritable. There are some things that cannot be hidden. Chapter 2195. Darkfeather knew that everyone had a cautious side in their heart. Without gaining the absolute trust of Qinglin and Qinghuan, it was impossible to enter the 9 domains world. If you want to put on a show, you have to go all the way. Some arrangements should be made. We have to choose a good target. If it's too big, it will be difficult for us to control with too few people. If it's too small, it will be difficult for a small tribe to produce a group of cultivators like us, Darkfeather said. Yes, we have to find a suitable target. We will first kill their young and strong men. Our team members will act as the young and strong men of the team. As for the elderly and children, each of us will control a part of them with our soul power. When necessary, we will put on a show in front of the 2 people, Darkfeather said. Captain is very thoughtful. The main thing is whether the first step of our spies goes smoothly. If it goes smoothly, then it will not be difficult to gain their trust, Darkfeather said. Darkfeather called over several spies of the Demon Wing clan, arranged a plan, and asked them to make the plan more clever. For example, if someone wanted to get closer to Qinglin and Qinghuan, then someone would act as the opposite, act as the opponent, and create a crisis with them. This way, the friendship would be upgraded faster. After the plan and requirements were arranged, Darkfeather gathered the team members together. Now she wanted to find a small tribe to develop. Qinglin and Qinghuan began their journey of experience. Although the undercurrent was surging, the celestial realm seemed very stable. Night Sorrow's 3 bodies were all cultivating in the time acceleration. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years had passed. Perhaps 30 years was nothing in the eyes of the older generation, but for the younger generation, 30 years was very important. It may be the time from birth to the next generation. The members of the God-slaying squad gathered together again, but this time was different from before. Except for Night Sorrow, it was a gathering of everyone. Under the time acceleration of the 9 domains world's heaven-sealing palace and the demonstration of the momentum of heaven and earth, the members of the God-slaying squad entered the Emperor realm one after another. Only a few people with poor aptitude were left. They temporarily gave up the charge and became guardians of the 9 domains world. Long Jean, apart from the time when our captain was in deep sleep, this is the longest time he has been in closed-door training, right? Liang Yu looked at Long Jean and asked. Yes, I reckon that when he appears again, his strength will be very frightening. Long Jin nodded. Everyone had improved a lot in the past 30 years. Long Jin himself had cultivated for 30 years in the Dragon Island's time acceleration. He was already a high-level great emperor and had a son, the Golden Dragon King's son. The Golden Dragon King was very happy. Sister-in-law, Brother Shirsan doesn't miss you. Is he not coming out of seclusion? Yi Mei looked at Sikong Chuyu and asked. Sikong Chuyu smiled and said, I think so. For the sake of long-term stability in the future, he has to work hard. He knows the burden on his shoulders is heavy. You haven't returned to the 9 Domains world recently, right? The 9 Domain world is extremely vast right now. It would take a long time for me to patrol the area with my men. Qian Changwei said. She did not enter the Emperor realm, but she did not return to the profound sky world. She stayed in the 9 regions world and became a guardian. Chapter 1 on Section E / Second Sister, It's Been Hard on You. Ho Jian and the others nodded at Qian Changwei. They addressed her the same way as Night Sorrow and Qian Yu. In private, Night Sorrow addressed Qian Changwei and Qian Changwei as Big Sister and Second Sister. You don't have to be so polite. It's an undeniable fact that your aptitude is not enough. However, everyone's role is different. The other brothers and I will watch over the 9 Domains world while you follow the captain to conquer the world. This is not bad. Qian Changwei said with a smile. She was indeed very happy. Although she had not entered the Great Emperor realm, she had a group of rank 9 brothers and sisters. Who would dare to look down on her? Not entering the Great Emperor realm is only temporary. The fastest to produce great emperors is our god-slaying team. Looking at the cultivators of other forces, which one of them hasn't cultivated for a long time? Accumulate some foundation and in the future, you will naturally cross that threshold. So there's no need to rush. Datura said. Everyone drank and chatted. 30 years had passed in the real world, but it was not the same time in the time acceleration. Everyone was usually in seclusion or cultivating, so it was especially lively when they met. Night Sorrow's original body had been working hard to cultivate. In the 30 years in the real world, he had cultivated for more than 1,000 years in the accelerated time. His realm had improved a lot, but he had not reached the level of 1 level. After entering the mid-stage Tribulation Emperor realm, it was too difficult to increase 1 level. His 2 doppelgangers continued to deduce and perfect their unique techniques, but they had also reached a bottleneck. The bottleneck was the fusion of the primordial destruction / He had completed the fusion, but he felt that there were still some imperfections. He felt that there were still some flaws that needed to be perfected. King Yowu had come to Tianhuang City a few times. He looked at the figure cultivating at the top of Tianhuang City and did not disturb him. He naturally knew about Night Sorrow's progress. Tran Hung had seen him a few times in the 30 years and had told him about some of the progress in the exploration of the ancient world. As for the World Tree, the city lord of Tianhuang City could not do anything about it. In a private room of the Humanitarian League, Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyun sat opposite each other and drank tea. Jiuyun, congratulations. Jun Xuanji cupped his hands at Zhu Jiuyun. He was congratulating Zhu Jiuyun for entering the 3-star Emperor realm. Thank you. I have been in seclusion for so many years, but you still haven't changed. Is there any progress? Zhu Jiuyun asked. No. You may not know, but Night Sorrow has never come out of seclusion. In the past 30 years, whether it was his original body or his doppelgangers, he has not seen anyone. Also, it's not appropriate for me to talk about those things with him. Back then, it happened when he lost his mind, so there are no impressions or memories in his soul. He does not have any feelings for me. When he sees me, it's the same as when he sees other people. Jun Xuanji shook his head. You don't have to think about this anymore. Feelings with a purpose are scheming. It really shouldn't be done. It will also make people feel disgusted. Zhu Jiuyun looked at Jun Xuanji and said. Jun Xuanji was taken aback for a moment. She had always been confused by the situation. Now that Zhu Jiuyun said this, she understood a lot. She also knew the reason why Night Sorrow was repulsed. Night Sorrow was repulsed by scheming. At this time, in a tribe in the desolate mountains, a wedding was being held. It was Qing Lin's wedding. He was marrying another member of their training team. 30 years ago, he and Qing Wan made several companions during their training. After going through many trials and hardships together, he fell in love with a woman in the team. Today was the day of their marriage. Yufan, how do you feel? At the top of a pavilion in the tribe, Mo Yufan looked at the wedding area and asked Mo Yufan. Chapter 2196. Once we take this step, we'll be closer to our goal. Mo Yufan nodded. Everyone knew that it was difficult to guard against a thief in the family. After becoming Qing Lin's wife, it would be too easy for the Demon Wing clan spy to do something. That good-for-nothing guy took advantage of the women of our Demon Wing clan. Hateful, but it doesn't matter. When there is a chance, I will cut him up and feed him to the dogs. Mo Yuqing cursed. Originally, Mo Yuqing, who was very feminist, did not intend to sacrifice the female members and planned to use the male members to attack Qing Wan. But after a long time, Qing Wan did not feel anything. Mo Yuqing did not know that Qing Wan would compare herself with Night Sorrow when she saw an outstanding man, so she did not feel anything. Mo Xiaolan and Qing Wan were very happy today. Qing Wan had changed her way of addressing her. Mo Xiaolan, who used to be called Big Sister, was now called Sister-in-law. Mo Xiaolan's original name was Mo Xiaonan. In order to hide the information, she changed her name to Mo Xiaolan. She was in the same training team as Qing Lin and received the order of Mo Yuqing. She took the initiative to cultivate a relationship with Qing Lin, and today there was a result. After worshipping heaven and earth, Mo Xiaolan glanced in the direction of Mo Yuqing. She knew that she was about to make a sacrifice for her clan. Sacrifice was her chastity that she valued very much. Mo Xiaolan originally looked down on Qing Lin, so even in the same team, she had delayed the wedding for more than 20 years. But now, with Mo Yuqing's order, she must pay. In addition, she also knew that Mo Yuqing's plan was about to succeed. There was no such thing as guarding against a thief for 1,000 days. At the beginning, Qing Lin and Qing Wan were very cautious, but after several battles, when she pretended to protect Qing Lin and Qing Wan with her life, Qing Lin and Qing Wan no longer had any vigilance. Brother, congratulations. Qing Wan gave a cupped fist salute to Qing Lin. Qing Wan, you have to hurry up. It's good that we have so many brothers in our team. Qing Lin put his arm around his new wife's shoulder. He did not know that Mo Xiaolan could not wait to chop off his hand and all the parts of his body. Watching Qing Lin and Mo Xiaolan enter the bridal chamber, Mo Yuqing retracted his gaze. There is only success if there is effort. Today is the effort, in the future it will be our Demon Wing clan's harvest. Captain. Mo Xiaolan's clone came to the side of Mo Yuqing and Mo Yufan. Follow the plan and please him. Remember, this temporary forbearance is worth it. It will give our Demon Wing clan a piece of sky. No one will look down on you. If you dare to say a word of nonsense, I will definitely kill you. Dark Feather turned his head to look at Mo Xiaolan and said. Your subordinate understands. Mo Xiaolan lowered her head and left because Qing Lin was currently undressing her main body. Yufan, if the plan goes smoothly, what do you think? Dark Feather looked at Dark Feather and asked. In terms of strategy, the rest of us are far inferior to you. But I still have a little idea, that is, we can't put all our eggs in one basket. We have to leave some backup plans. Dark Yufan said. Mo Yuqing nodded. No matter what it is, it's best to think it over carefully. Just like the plan of Lord Divine Ancestor last time. If we had just let that trash carry the transmission crystal, the matter would not have been exposed. The original plan was still a bit rough. Dark Yufan did not say a word. He did not want to comment on these things. Looking at the silent Dark Feather opened his mouth. I intend to let Mo Xiaolon go to the 9-domain world and Chaos domain several times first. When everything goes smoothly, then we will consider entering together. Stability is the first priority. In the words of Lord Divine Ancestor, the opportunity to enter the 9-domain world is too rare. We can't afford to waste it. We must grasp it. Yes, stability is very important. In fact, look at things simply. Just treat it as if Mo Xiaolon is really married to Qing Lin, husband and wife are real. Next, let nature take its course. When it's time to enter, let Mo Xiaolon use the excuse of worry and fear of being rejected as an excuse to enter and leave Star Moon City in Qing Lin's space treasure. As for meeting Qing Lin's family, it's also simple. Let Mo Xiaolon use the excuse of nervousness and not being mentally prepared, and everything will be over, Dark Yufan said. Okay, later you go and remind Mo Xiaolon. Dark Feather nodded to Dark Feather. She also thought highly of Dark Feather in her heart. Although Dark Feather did not speak much, she was very intelligent and was a very good assistant. Dark Feather also understood why Dark Feather almost did not express her opinion. In fact, she did not want to be suspected by her and did not want the team to be disharmonious. In terms of the control of the team, Dark Feather really was not worried. In terms of strength, she and Dark Feather were on par, but in terms of qualifications and background, she was much more solid. Tran Hung once again returned to Heavenly Wasteland City. He first found Huang Ling. How are the spiritual women's cultivation now? It's not good to have a low cultivation base. Look at W/original T version %, chapter. On section S.P. In the past 30 years, they have all worked hard to improve their cultivation base. The one who has improved the fastest is my daughter, concubine Wuling. After awakening her bloodline, she has been cultivating in the ancestral land. Her cultivation base has improved in a straight line, and now she is close to the high-level Emperor Tribulation. The other one is Huang Jia, who was ranked second on the Heaven list last time. She is close to the intermediate Emperor Tribulation, and the others are all emperors, Huang Ling said. The Emperor Tribulation cultivation base is similar. Night Sorrow has not come out. Tran Hung turned his head to look in the direction of Heavenly Wasteland Tower. Yes, the young city lord's temperament is really good. In the time acceleration, he has been cultivating for more than 1,000 years. It is estimated that it will not be long before his cultivation base is promoted again. Huang Ling admired and envied. She admired Night Sorrow's perseverance, and envied Night Sorrow's cultivation base in such a short period of time. Night Sorrow's cultivation base was already the same as hers, but his actual combat strength had far surpassed hers. The monstrous figure that was born when the two supreme worlds were alternating is not something we can compare to. He has clashed with the Demon Wing clan several times, which has put pressure on him, Tran Hung said. It is too hard for him to cultivate like this. Although it is the last era, 100 billion years is not a short time. City Lord, if you have time, you should persuade him, Huang Ling said. There is time, but it is still very urgent. We have to hurry up with the matters of the ancient world. When it rains, it pours. I am worried that the ancient world's cultivators will discover the location of the celestial realm because of the changes in the celestial realm's energy. That would be really troublesome. Tran Hung shook his head. The celestial realm was now changing from a supreme world to a sub-supreme world. The energy fluctuations produced were very large. This was also the reason why Tran Hung was worried. After integrating the beginning destruction / once again, Night Sorrow stopped deducing. He was sure that if he wanted to cultivate the beginning destruction / to perfection, there was an insurmountable bottleneck. It was useless to rely only on deduction without comprehension. It was just like the Wuji attribute was stuck. No matter how much he deduced and analyzed the energy, he could not advance. What he needed was a flash of inspiration. However, Night Sorrow did not know when he would have this flash of inspiration. Chapter 2197. Now that the City Lord is back, you're willing to stop your cultivation? Huang Ling asked with a smile when she saw Night Sorrow arrive. I've reached a bottleneck in my cultivation. There's no point in continuing my research. I was just about to return to my residence when I sensed the City Lord's aura. Night Sorrow shook his head and explained. Many cultivators are afraid of being stuck at a bottleneck. Actually, it's not a bad thing. There's a saying that goes, when things reach an extreme, they move in the opposite direction. Being stuck at a bottleneck is a problem, but after overcoming it, you'll improve greatly. Tran Hung said. A wise man. Night Sorrow knew that this was a wise man. He saw things differently from ordinary people. Thank you, City Lord, for your explanation. Lord Spirit King, how is my Aunt Faye now? Night Sorrow asked after sitting down. She's improving by leaps and bounds. She's the second golden phoenix in the history of our Ice Phoenix race. Her talent is unparalleled. She's about to reach the high-level Emperor Tribulation level after deliberately controlling her cultivation in order to stabilize her foundation. However, she's only gone through 4 of the 9 Emperor Tribulations of the Heavenly Tao. Suppressing the number of tribulations will reduce her cultivation speed, but the good thing is that her foundation is stable. Huang Ling explained Wu Lingfei's situation. That's good. Some things can't be rushed. Night Sorrow was relieved to know that Wu Lingfei was doing well. The demon-winged race hasn't done anything in the past 30 years. They're probably up to no good. Huang Ling said. It shouldn't be. Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian are both in the demonic imperial city. If they don't come out to attack, the celestial realm's defense line will be stable. Night Sorrow said. The last time he went to the demonic imperial city, Mo Yutian appeared first. He also sensed Mo Zhantian's life aura when the teleportation started. How do you know they haven't come out? Huang Ling asked, puzzled. 30 years ago, I went to the demonic imperial city once to check on its defense. Later, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian appeared. I ran back and started my seclusion. Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Huang Ling and Tran Hung's expressions changed. You're simply fooling around. How can you put yourself in danger? Your existence is a first-class threat to the demon-winged clan. As long as there is a chance, they will kill you at all costs. But you ran to their door by yourself. Tran Hung pointed at Night Sorrow angrily. Sir City Lord, please don't be angry. I've prepared a backup plan. If the situation turns bad, I'll run immediately. I won't give them a chance at all, Night Sorrow said embarrassedly. Night Sorrow, don't blame the City Lord for being angry. You are the human emperor of the 100 races of the celestial realm. You have 2 taboo attributes, and you are the realm lord of the supreme world. You are too important to our side. Nothing can happen to you, Huang Ling said to the embarrassed Night Sorrow. That's right. Anyone in the celestial realm can die in battle, but you can't. You are our hope. When you grow up, your chances of surviving the God-destroying tribulation are greater than anyone else's. This concerns the future of the 100 races of the celestial realm. You can't be careless. Let's not talk about some unavoidable battles. They are part of your growth experience. But you can't do anything reckless, Tran Hung said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He knew that Tran Hung and Huang Ling were worried about him. They were doing this for his own good. Then Tran Hung told him about the World Tree. The World Tree was at the edge of an ancient world. That ancient world was also at the periphery of the ancient world group. So, many years had passed, and the World Tree had not been discovered. This matter had to be done quickly. It mainly depended on when the cultivators with high spirituality selected by Huang Ling could achieve something. Huang Ling gave 3 years. If the next few cultivators all worked hard, it would take 3 years. Then the time will be 3 years later. 3 years later, we will fight. Tran Hung made the decision. After chatting for a while, Knight Sorrow left. He had just stopped cultivating and had not returned to his residence. In the time acceleration, he had not seen his family for 1,000 years. He missed them very much. In the residence, Knight Sorrow only saw Lin Piaomiao. The rest of his family were in Night Moon Villa and Star Moon City. Knight Sorrow and his family did not live much in Star Moon City. But the biggest residence in Star Moon City was the night residence. Usually, there were servants looking after it. Bringing Lin Piaomiao with him, he went to the god-slaying squad and called for Yang Lei, Qing Ji, and Sikong Chuyu. The group went to the Night Moon Mountain Villa and brought Mandela to Star Moon City. In Star Moon City, Knight Sorrow saw a few children in Xiao Gu. Zhan Yi was there too. Look at unspecified currency F regular edition D chapter #B$. After sitting down, Knight Sorrow looked at his eldest daughter and asked, Qing Yin, are your senior brother and sister still in 9 Region City? Father, after you went into seclusion, senior brother and sister returned to Medicine Valley, Yi Qing Yin said. Knight Sorrow nodded. July was the peak lord of Taixian Peak. She was usually quite busy. Father, we all miss you. Yi Xiaolei hugged Knight Sorrow's shoulder and said. You can really get tired of me. Yang Lei smiled. Yes, we really miss you. Not counting the time acceleration during cultivation, we haven't seen you in 30 years. Yi Xiaolei did not let go of Knight Sorrow. Instead, she hugged him even tighter. It's my fault. I've only been focused on cultivation. I haven't guided or accompanied you in your cultivation for the past 30 years. Knight Sorrow patted his daughter's shoulder and said. Yi Xiaolei and the others shook their heads. They all knew that their father was busy. They knew that it was not easy for him. We won't stay in Star Moon City. I haven't seen your grandfather and grandmother in a long time. I wonder how your grandpa Gu is doing. Knight Sorrow stood up and said. The group returned to 9 Regions World through the transportation array. During the journey, Sikong Chuyu told Knight Sorrow that Grandpa Gu was doing well. He was now trying to break through to the mid-level King Realm. In 10,000 years, his chances of entering the King Realm were very high. After hearing Sikong Chuyu's words, Knight Sorrow felt much more at ease. He had always been worried about Grandpa Gu. Yu Qing was overjoyed that her son had returned to Sky City. She immediately ordered a family banquet. Knight Sorrow, his father, and Grandpa Gu went to the observation deck above the mansion to drink tea and chat. Son, there is no strongest cultivator, only stronger. The road ahead is endless. Don't tire yourself out. Yi Wuyo looked at Knight Sorrow and said. His heart ached for his son. No matter how great his son's achievements were, he was still a child in his eyes. He still remembered the scene of Knight Sorrow fighting against the various dynasties in Taiqing Domain when he was young. Father, don't worry. After some things are settled, I will return here and accompany you and mother peacefully, Night Sorrow said. At this moment, Yi Qingyan brought some fruits over. Father, I heard that Martial Uncle Qing Emperor got married again when I went to visit him. Should we send a congratulatory gift? Married again. We need to prepare a congratulatory gift. Which faction does the girl belong to? Night Sorrow asked Yi Qingyan. Chapter 2198. You've never seen him before. Your martial uncle Qing Lin is quite capable. Although I haven't interacted much with him, I still have to prepare a gift. You can tell your mother what to give her. I really don't know, said Yi Shang. Okay, I'll tell my mother. I'll drink tea with father first. Yi Qingyan smiled and sat beside Night Sorrow. Father, Xiao Ke just went to kill a big snake. I'll roast it later. Yi Xiao Ke also came to the observation deck. Come sit beside Grandpa. Yi Wuyo waved his hand at his grandson. You idiot. Don't you know that father won't kill for no reason? Why are you showing off in front of father? Yi Qingyan glanced at Night Sorrow and said. She was worried that her father would be angry. She didn't want him to be unhappy at all. Night Sorrow shook his head. Cultivators have different thoughts at different times. It's right as long as it's suitable for the state of mind at that time. Take your father for example. When your father was young, I entered the Tao with the intention to fight. There was nothing that I couldn't fight, and my murderous nature was strong. At that time, this kind of mentality wasn't wrong. Later on, I achieved the body of merit and cultivated my virtue. Except for the necessary battles, I have always tried my best to reduce killing. I even gave up the hobby of hunting demonic beasts and eating roasted meat. Yi Qingyan and Yi Xiaoke didn't understand. Yi Wuyo was also very curious. Looking at the puzzled faces of the others, Night Sorrow expressed his feelings. He felt that the Tao was natural. Everything should go with the flow. If he deliberately pursued it, he would be at a disadvantage. As for killing, Night Sorrow's understanding was natural selection and survival of the fittest. This was also the reason why all races had to work hard. The Tao is natural. That's too vague. Yi Xiaoke rubbed his head and said. You don't have to think about it. As your father, it's fine as long as it's suitable for your current state of mind. Night Sorrow waved his hand and let Yi Xiaoke sit down. Among his children, young Master Night Sorrow was the most honest. His style of doing things was also carefree. When he fought, he had a fierce aura. Night Sorrow felt that he was the most like him. On the other hand, Yi Yujun, Yi Xiaoluo, and Yi Lingxi were different. Yi Yujun was a very gentlemanly person. Back then, when he was despised for his proposal, he could still face it with a smile. Yi Xiaoluo had Xiao in her name, but her way of doing things was the most magnanimous. She had her own circle of friends in the celestial realm and had an extremely good reputation. On the other hand, Yi Lingxi was a bit of a loner. She did not interact much with others and always played by herself. I don't know about other things, but I do know about having a clear conscience. A man must be indomitable, and Xiao Ke can do that. Young Master Yi nodded. Our Xiao Ke is so generous. Let's go, the banquet is ready. If we don't call you, don't go down. Yu Qing had also arrived at the observation deck. She was extremely happy to hear Yi Shou's words. The Yi family's banquet was extremely lively. The children knew that the elders were people who did not adhere to the customs, so they were very open. Some things should be said, and some things should be said, and some things should be laughed. Lingxi, don't be too antisocial. It's not that being antisocial is bad, but antisocial people are definitely less happy. If you have nothing to do, you should interact more with your brother and sister and make more friends. If there's anything, you can also tell father. You can totally treat father as a friend. Night Sorrow said as he picked up some food for Yilingxi. Ah. Father, don't worry. Lingxi just feels that there are many times when my way of thinking is different from others. I have made friends before, but I want to train while they want to go fishing. We are not in the same world at all. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yilingxi was very surprised and continued to explain. If you look at the problem from another angle, fishing is not a bad thing. It is also a training for one's temperament. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Lingxi understands. I won't let father worry in the future. Yilingxi stood up and bowed to Night Sorrow. Silly child, your father just wants you to live a happier life. I'm not asking you for anything. She pulled her son to sit down and said with a smile. Night Sorrow looked at the children and nodded. Father also doesn't know how to communicate with you. In fact, I just want you to live a happy life. I don't have any other requests. During the meal, the family ate happily and harmoniously. Night Sorrow also had a rare moment of relaxation. After the family banquet, the family gave Night Sorrow and his wife some space to be alone. Night Sorrow did not go anywhere. He took his wife out on the boat and went to the lake. After getting married, Qinglin's life was very comfortable. The only regret was that he felt that his wife was a bit introverted. He mentioned several times that he wanted to see his parents, but Mo Xiaolon refused. Mo Xiaolon felt that she would be nervous. While Qinglin was deep in thought, Qingwan arrived at his residence. The tribe they lived in now was called Mohu tribe. It used to be called Chiho tribe because there was an emperor in this tribe. Because his surname was Qi, he was called Chiho. After Mo Yuqing led his people to occupy and rule this tribe, he changed the name to Mohu tribe. Mo and Mo are identical sounds. As for the people in the tribe, they were all controlled. Those who could come in contact with Qinglin and Qingwan were all controlled by the soul force of the Demon Wing clan cultivators. Some of the marginal people were either elders or children. They were imprisoned and killed if they disobeyed. Therefore, they were all ordered to live a normal life. Because Qinglin and Qingwan were strong, Mo Yufan, who showed a higher cultivation than them, was the appointed patriarch. He arranged the position of tribe protector and had a separate residence for them. Brother, what are you thinking about? Qingwan sat down and asked. Your sister-in-law is too reserved. She doesn't dare to meet father and mother. You know, I used to marry for the sake of the descendants. I don't have feelings for her. So now I hope that Xiaolon can get along well with our family. Qinglin sighed. QD. Head, 0. That's it. Sister-in-law was born in Chiho tribe and doesn't communicate much with the outside world. So it's normal for her to feel some psychological pressure. She's also afraid that our parents will object and not like her. In fact, this also proves that she cares about you very much. Qingwan said with a smile. She liked Mo Xiaolon more. In the experience, Mo Xiaolon had saved her life. Of course, only Mo Xiaolon and others knew the truth. She said that when she has time, she can secretly go to our chaos domain and familiarize herself with the local customs of our world. Maybe after understanding the chaos domain, she can slowly change her state of mind. Qinglin said. In marriage, we have to accommodate each other. We can't only have one side as the core. You can arrange whatever sister-in-law likes. Qingwan said. You're right. Maybe after understanding the chaos domain, her mentality can change. When we have time, I'll take her to the chaos domain. Qinglin said, You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.